Hello, everyone, and welcome to ReelTok episode 33. I am sat here once again with my boys George, Seth, and Cam. We got a solid episode for you today. We got a ton of movie reviews. We got Beau is Afraid and Evil Dead Rise, two big mommy issues movies. We have Ghosted, the highly anticipated, wig-filled, awful poster, cameo-packed, high-budget movie from Apple TV+. And then we have Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, and then we also get a Mandalorian Season 3 as that has wrapped up, and there's a lot of hot takes on it. A lot of people are saying it sucked. A lot of people are defending it like Cameron, so we're going to get his side of the story as to why it might not have been as bad as everyone might be saying it is. I think it's pretty light on the nerd news this week compared to pretty much every week I think we've ever done this podcast. But we have a solid amount of trailers and news and other stuff to go through, so still going to be a packed episode, so let's go ahead and get right into it. But we are going to be wrapping up with a draft of something different this week. The best things to eat and drink at the movies, so should be an interesting draft. I feel like there's going to be one of those drafts that rounds one, especially round two, going to be pretty standard picks, but I think we're going to get a little into the weeds in the later rounds. It should be interesting to see where we go here. But tons of content coming this week. This is going to be one of our most packed weeks for YouTube, so if you're not subscribed already or following on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button because we have the podcast episode today on Monday. Tomorrow we have another Real Fun Trivia uploading. Then we have a Q&A this week. We have our standard real talk or real quick reviews or real quick draft. So I think we have like 5 podcast episodes between the Real Talks and Real Quicks coming this week alone. So huge content week. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. And none of this content would be possible without Patreon. So shout out to all of our patrons. Tons of different stuff available for everyone at different tiers. So check that out in the description below, whether you're on YouTube or the audio versions. And I promise, this is a guarantee from me this week, I will have our first pieces of merch live this week. And I've said that before, but this is my official stamped guarantee. I have the store ready to roll. Just need to get some pieces of merch out there. So people on Patreon will hear about it first. But other than that, make sure you're following us on socials because you'll hear about it there. Let's get into it. How is everyone doing this week? We'll start with George because he has returned to TikTok. He has also had a fun night last night where he was out getting some brews down. So how's the week been?
The Twitter fingers were going crazy last night.
Your Twitter tweet per minute ratio last night was Olympic level.
It was high as fuck, yeah, for sure, which is just hysterical because I woke up and I'm like, let's see what we tweeted. But no, week went well. Back on TikTok, of course. I feel like I had to make my return eventually. I thought Beau is Afraid was a good place to start, and then
I was hoping you'd post last night as well. I was waiting for you to join.
Stop. I had to. I didn't want to post this week, honestly, but I had to post that Hulu ad. But like, I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be my first video back. So I was like, all right, Beau is Afraid. That's a good movie to review. Everyone wants to hear everyone's thoughts on Beau is Afraid, so let me do that. But we might be back to a hiatus. I don't know when the next time I'm posting is. But no, week is good. Still getting settled into work, but as time goes on, just getting busier and busier, which is a good thing. And yeah, other than that, calm week of work, back on TikTok, happily, I guess, maybe.
Well, welcome back. I know a lot of people sent their well wishes of welcoming you back to TikTok. You made your return, so nice to see you back on the Clock app. Cameron, how's the week been? Your background looks a little different this week. You got a singular light switch as the backdrop.
Yeah, week's good. Today I'm in my kitchen, or it's an apartment, so like it's basically the living room as well. But I got my son. He's munching right now. Him and I are chilling. Emma's still asleep. We're recording a little early, so normally I try to let her sleep in on the weekend, so letting her sleep in. Nothing really this week, man. I have admitted defeats on the Star Wars rewatch. Definitely not getting through it by May 4th. I realized May 4th, like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm probably like 30% of the way through, and I don't have time anymore to just grind things. So it is what it is. It's fine. I'm still watching it. Nothing crazy went on this week. Went to getting yelled at by my son. Not paying attention to him. But yeah, it's been a good week. I'll probably be on mute for a little. So yeah, you won't have to worry about me interrupting or anything like I normally do.
How's your son's week go?
He's good, man. He's sleeping well. You got anything to say?
That would have been perfect.
Right,
That would have been
right.
perfect if he did nothing.
Yeah, he's learning how to shake his head no. That's what
Nice.
he's got going on right now. He loves it. Thinks it's hilarious.
Big moves as well.
Nothing.
Yeah, I feel like the Star Wars rewatches. I don't know. I think you knew how much you were biting off when you got into it, but I feel like it's just deceptive with all the series and stuff. Because like when you list all the projects, you're like, oh, here's all I got. But then when you think about,
it's
so many
I
episodes.
knew it was 6 days consecutive. It's 6 days of watching through, and that's just a lot of content.
Wait, how did you figure 6 days out?
Google.
I know.
It only takes 6, even like with your full-time job.
No.
No,
It
it's
takes
6 days.
If I started at the start and watched and never turned it off, it would take 6 days.
Okay.
And I think like I knew, I was like, that's a crazy amount, but I have 3 months. Or when did I start? Maybe I had 2 months, because I think I started end of May. All right. And yeah, it just that math didn't work. I had like 2.5 months, we'll say, realizing 6 days. That's absurd. But you know, I'm enjoying it still. I'm just can't do it as quickly as I was. When I started, I also like knocked out 2 movies and like half a season the first weekend, because I had a lot of time. So I'm like, I got this. And then just time dwindled heavy after that.
What are you up to right now?
The Bad Batch season 2, like episode 4 or something. So I've done all of Clone Wars, all of the prequels, and 1.5 seasons of the Bad Batch. So we're moving, just not as quick.
Well, I'm sure you'll be done by May 4th. It's just you didn't clarify which year specifically, so
Yeah,
you're on track. You're on track.
Yeah.
Seth, how has your week been? I hear you have a buddy in town, so you got some festivities planned today.
Not really, just going through like food and stuff, because catching up with someone I haven't seen in a while. Pretty like less stressful week than last week, I would say. Had a lot of planning to do. We finally sorted out Comic-Con, so we sorted out the accommodation for that next month. So I will be there. So let me know if you are. I will be there all the days. Although, as George said, we'll see if I last all the days at Comic-Con, because it does sound very, very stressful and very, very busy. So who knows? Got something sorted, going down to London in a couple of weeks. Something big might be planned in terms of content. So that's kind of cool. And then just work stuff in general. UFC on tonight, a little card as well. So it's always something to look forward to. Apart from that, pretty standard week as far as I'm concerned. Oh, I also got my Banshee's tattoo.
Yes, that was a sick tattoo. That's
yeah, I like that tattoo. I like that tattoo.
It's been planned for a while, but I've just not had the time. And so I just thought I'd get it done.
But Seth, they didn't win an Oscar.
Yeah, I know, but I said even if they didn't, I'm still going to get it done, realistically. I want to get, like, throughout my life, I'd like to get... throughout my life, I'd like to get, like, I think, at least, like, my top 50 movies, somewhere.
50? Jesus.
Well, I've got, like, 7 of them.
I only got my number 1 right now.
Well,
do you have a Linden?
I've not got any tattoos except my arms, so I've
Okay.
got, like, a lot of space.
That's fair.
Okay.
The next one I'm going to be is a cornetto somewhere to signify Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I don't know where, though. You know the little ice cream they eat?
Just the word
Yeah,
Cornetto.
yeah.
No,
No,
the cornetto.
like the little ice cream cone.
Okay.
I'm going to get one of them, I think maybe on my chest or something like that.
Your next tattoo should be a tear on your eye, just to represent all the sad movies you love. Just get tears on your eyes.
People will think I'm killed someone, though.
Exactly. Be like, no, you guys don't get it. This is for all the emotional movies.
It's from when I watched After Sun. That's what it is.
Yeah, like
decent movie.
that joke. That's another joke to bring back to game night, which you watched the other week. Be like, this tattoo's, or like when he did the picture, he's like, this is me crying in the theater when I watched The Green Mile. It's like, how did you guys not understand this was going for here?
I like that film.
But yeah, so solid weeks all around for everyone. For me, pretty standard week. A lot of time in the old movie theater this week. Double feature Donnie was back at it. Had 2 back-to-back nights of double features. First one was Suzumi right into Beau is Afraid. And both of those are not short movies, because Suzumi's over 2 hours, just barely, and then Beau is Afraid's obviously 3 hours. So that was quite the double feature. And then the next night was Paint into Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret, which those 2 nights of double features couldn't have been more different, but Paint, awful. And then Are You There, God, I thought was really good, actually. Like, genuinely, I think that's going to be a really great movie that's going to do very well.
Whenever you text that in our group chat, I think you're saying something. Like, I think you're preaching or something. I'm really confused. It's just such a strange movie title.
Yeah, it's based on a Judy Blume book, which is like, she's like one of the, arguably probably like one of the most famous like young adult more female slanted authors. So it's just based on one of her books. But yeah, 2 double features this week. Other than that, I can't really think of much that's been spectacular this week. Been a pretty standard week, nothing to complain about. Oh, I golfed the other day. It's like I've been mentioning this every week, but it's like full blown summer at this point. So hit the course. A lot of my friends are still in Minnesota, and I forget that it's still like 40 degrees up north, so they're all like really pissed and jealous of me when I'm like, hey, I'm golfing. They're like, God damn it, I wish I could be.
What degrees is it there for summer?
I can't translate to Celsius, but right now it's like 90, 94, 95 degrees Fahrenheit every day. So
every day.
But
What's that, like 35 or something here? That's stupid here. When it gets like that, that's like
yeah.
I
but
can't
like,
handle that heat. It's horrible.
Right now is like peak golf season. I enjoy golfing when it's super hot because I'm not good. So like when it's super super crazy hot, not a lot of people are out there golfing. So like once July hits, it's gonna be like 115, 120 every day. And that's when like no one's golfing, and that's
Do you
when
like that?
No.
I don't. I wouldn't prefer that, but I like it for golfing because, like I said, like no one's on the course, so I can go as slow or as fast as I want
for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
So damn hot
to not die.
Yeah. No, yeah, it takes the energy out of you for sure. But yeah, summer in Arizona, love it and hate it. But let's jump right into this week's movie reviews. We'll start off with Beau is Afraid. And we'll start with no spoilers. And when we get to the spoilers portion, I'm going to tell Seth to literally be like, just like mute us.
Yeah,
and we'll text you and come back. Because I genuinely don't want anything spoiled for you. Even though I don't think any of the spoilers would like ruin the movie, but it would ruin your reaction. So I want you to be completely blind for that. So we'll start spoiler free.
Cam already spoiled something on his Letterboxd review. And he didn't. You can literally spoiler. You can cover it on Letterboxd.
Did he?
Idiot.
The giant. Okay,
yeah, the giant penis monster.
I saw that. I saw that.
Yeah. To be fair, like that's exactly what I mean. Like that spoils literally nothing in the movie, but that's like one of the shock value moments that like you're gonna be like, oh, but
I'd want to be surprised.
Right?
Now
yeah. So Cam L, I tried to protect you from it because he texted it in the group chat. I'm like, delete that message because he can unsend messages in iPhone group chats. But
he doesn't use his brain.
Cam was the most recent one to watch it, but I think he's on dad duty right now, so I was going to go to him first, but instead I will pivot to George first. So you watched it, I think, Thursday night, I believe. So what are your thoughts on Beau is Afraid? Again, starting completely spoiler-free, not ruining any of the crazy moments, just overall reactions and your score out of 5.
Yeah, I honestly don't even if we are, when we get to spoilers, I don't even know what we're going to talk about. I don't know how to talk about this movie, and I said that in my TikTok review because it's like the truth. It's exactly like what everyone's describing, and I hate to repeat it because I feel like everyone is saying it's just 3 hours of like stress and paranoia. It's this character of Beau just going on a journey, trying to get to his mom, which I don't think that's a spoiler. Pretty sure that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm so indifferent on this movie. I went with a 3 out of 5 because the first hour and a half I genuinely enjoyed. Like the first hour and a half, I was so in. I was like, this is going to be, without a doubt, my favorite movie of the year. It was fast-paced. It was chaotic. You're just kind of watching Joaquin Phoenix put on this really good performance as this, panic attack-induced character as he navigates this, treacherous path of just shitty things. And it was really fast paced. It was really chaotic. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, where the fuck is this movie going? And then this movie, it's one of those movies where you feel like it's going to end like 4 times. And there were genuinely like 4 or 5 instances where I was like, oh, the movie's going to wrap up. That 3 hours went by pretty fast. And then it just kept going. And it kept going and going and going. And by the end of it, I'm like, that was a 6-hour movie. I was like, that had to be 7 hours at least. And that's what kind of threw me. And then again, like I said in my TikTok review, I'm not smart enough to review this movie. I'm sure there's so much to it, so many layers, so many, rich thematic elements that I just didn't pick up on. And I think I do. I'm going to rewatch this movie. I want to, just because now I know how it pans out. Now I know what to expect. So I want to see if a second viewing will, maybe enhance my experience, because the first time I saw it, I was just like, when is this thing going to end? Which sucks because, again, that first hour and a half, I was so invested. I really liked what was going on. It was just, it felt unpredictable. It kind of felt unsafe. It made me feel uncomfortable, which I enjoy in like I don't even know what genre this is, black comedy, psychological thriller, I guess. You could call this thing many things. But yeah, I'm going with 3 out of 5. I'm very indifferent about it. I'm usually not the biggest, proponent of, complaining about a runtime, but this is one where I really fucking felt it. And I think that really dampened my experience, especially towards the end of the movie.
To be fair, just to go back from what you said, when you said, like, you're not smart enough to understand this film?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people who I know, similar to yourself, have watched a lot of films and they understand film quite well. Even they've said that a lot of it is thematically shallow. So maybe you are smart enough. Maybe it's just the fact that you actually don't think there's much there.
Maybe there's just not a lot to it. I mean, listen, when you watch the movie, Seth, there's like, and this is no spoilers, but like there's like the last 2 sequences, essentially, like the last 2 scenes. There's just so much going on, so much that like pulls from previous things said in the movie, previous things you see in the movie. And the entire final sequence, I was sitting in a theater and I was like, how the fuck did we get here? So I don't know. Maybe it was shallow and there isn't much to interpret. Maybe I love that Family Guy quote where Peter's like, I do not like The Godfather. It insists upon itself. I don't know what that means, but I feel like Beau is
that sounds right for this.
Yeah, Beau is afraid insists upon itself as well.
That's a perfect description. But yeah, no, like to what Seth was saying, and again, this is like zero spoilers whatsoever. I think the themes of this movie, what Ari Aster's trying to go for, I think are very surface level. Like I feel like I get everything he was going for, but in terms of the story, like the actual movie on screen itself, it's confusing to know what's reality and what's not. And I think even people that are smarter in their film analysis are like, they made stuff convoluted for just convoluted sake. But I think the themes are what people are saying is like more shallow, which I fully agree, which we'll get into when we talk spoilers, like what he's going for. I think are
but also
I've
seen so many, sorry to interrupt because it just goes off of what we're saying. I've seen so many people, and I even said it in my TikTok review because I saw a lot of people say it, and I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. It feels like one of those movies where you're watching it from the point of view of Beau, who is heavily medicated throughout the entire movie. He's clearly not all there in the head. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, the movie's getting weirder and more uncomfortable, and you're not understanding it as much as you maybe did in the first couple of scenes because Beau is like kind of just descending into madness and just he's losing it in the head. So as a viewer, you're seeing what he's seeing. And I was like, all right, that makes sense, but still fucking weird.
What did you give it out of 5?
3.
All right, 3 out of 5 from George, and you said you might need to rewatch, and you plan on rewatching it.
I want to rewatch, especially with the movie this long. Now that I know like when it ends and like what happens leading up to it, I think that'll like because when I watched it for the first time, I truly thought the movie was going to end like 4 times. So I was like, oh, okay. But now that I know when it ends and I know like what to expect, I want to see if I'll 1 feel the runtime as much, and 2 pick up on things that maybe I just looked past in my first viewing, because this movie was a lot to take in. So I'm confident I missed like some important lines, some important conversations or something.
For sure. And yeah, I didn't say the synopsis. I'll go over that, even though George basically hit it on the head when he mentioned it, because it's really just a 1-sentence synopsis. A paranoid man embarks on an epic odyssey to get home to his mother. And that's pretty much the whole story. You just follow this man trying to get home to his mom. Basically, he visits her once a year on the anniversary of his dad's death, and this is literally like the first 5 seconds of the movie. Like that sets up the movie. Like, oh, it's the anniversary of his father's death. That's when he usually goes back and visits his mother. He has to go home. You follow his journey home, and that's how the whole movie gets set in motion. And you go on this 3-hour ride that is a dark comedy. I'd say is the main genre here, but yeah, there is that psychological thriller aspect. It's definitely nowhere near as horrific as previous Ari Aster movies, even though there's like horror elements in it for different respects. But like I'd mentioned to Cam, and I think Cam, you'd agree now that you've seen it, there's nothing scary really about this movie at all, right? Like even the biggest horror wusses in the world can see this and be completely fine. So yeah, you're muted, I believe.
That's my bad. Fuck me.
No, Cam was muted. Everyone was muted.
I was talking too. It's not even labeled as a horror on Letterboxd, which was super surprising. Also,
oh yeah, I see that now.
I never saw the trailer to Beau's Afraid.
No, I definitely saw it, but they didn't really play it before any movies.
Did you see the teaser, the first one?
I don't know. I like walking into the movie, I was like thinking to myself, like, I really like, I don't know what I'm watching. Like, I don't have like a frame of reference on like, hello.
Okay, you're unmuted now.
I don't have like a frame of reference on like what I'm like going into, which I thought was weird. What's up, Cam?
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I missed everything you guys said. So real quick before we get into spoilers, I came into the back half of Tyler mentioning just surface level themes, and I agree with that. Like this deals. The only theme that I think they tried to really hit home, and it's because they explicitly talk about it, is his guilt that he's feeling of many different things. We can get into that, but this for me was just something and George said, I heard you also say that like you want to give it a rewatch. I never want to watch this movie again. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. Like I mentioned, like the second note I took is, I take my notes. The second note I took is like this movie, I think the camera work is incredible. I loved the camera work throughout the movie. I loved the directing. I think the acting was great. I think the dialogue was very good. But it just kind of wasn't anything. And it wasn't, I don't know who it was for, but it sure as hell wasn't for me. It wasn't like, some people, and I know Seth's favorite thing is like, just have fun with it. I think that is a pass of a movie like that. I think like is super kind of shit, but like, if I have a good time, I'm not going to be as upset that I went and saw it. Like 30 minutes into this, I'm like sitting on my phone, just bored as hell. Even though it was weird, I was super bored. I didn't think it didn't get, and nothing happens for the first 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes is when the big change comes. We'll talk about that. That's at like the 30-minute mark because I noted it. Sorry, it's going. It just, and I didn't find it funny. I didn't find it like smart. I don't know. I didn't like get anything from this other than the directing was very good, in my opinion.
This is the first appearance your dog's made on the podcast. Shout out everyone watching on YouTube, but
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, thank you. One time I was playing fetch with her, but
oh yeah,
just all up in your business right now, licking the face. But yeah, I just want to quickly mention that one note you just said is this is what I mentioned in my letterbox review. I think this is like. And again, I don't know the technicalities of screenwriting enough, but to me, this didn't feel like a general 3-act structure. It felt like more like a 4 or 5-act structure. But I think the first 45 minutes, if you don't like the first 45 minutes, there's no way it's going to go up from there. I think if you don't buy in immediately, it's going to go, you just keep going downhill because I think it gets progressively weirder and more bizarre. So the fact that when you texted the group chat and you're like, this is just weird. I don't know. I don't like what I'm watching. So early on, I was like, yeah, he's not going to like this. Because if you don't like that first 45 minutes, I think the next one just gets a little weirder. And it just keeps getting weirder and something that would be more disliking. I don't think it gets
weirder, though. Like, to be... So, let's just... We'll get into spoilers. There are things
Seth, I want you to disappear, and I'll text you in the group chat when you should come back. I don't want you to get spoiled at all. All right, goodbye.
So, am I good to just say what I was going to say?
Yeah, spoilers can start now. Except hold on, what did you give it out of 5?
Yeah, so I gave it a 33 out of 100, so a 1.5 out of 5.
All right, and then before you start, I gave it a 6.7 out of 10 because I didn't say that yet. So 3.5 stars. All right, now go ahead. Spoilers now.
Yeah, so the first 30 minutes, like nothing happens, and the 30-minute mark is when his mother is revealed dead. So that's like when I started. That's when I thought the movie was going to start picking up and maybe I'd get more enjoyment. I don't think that like necessarily like after the first 45, 50 minutes, an hour was all that weird compared to the first. And I think more so I was just like Joaquin Phoenix's ass was just in my face for like 10 minutes. There's a naked man stabbing people. There was a man hiding above his bath and then falls on him. And there's a like it's not 15 minutes, but there's like 3-minute sequence of them just rolling around in this bath trying to get out. I thought that was the weirdest part. Like even when we get into the giant dick monster, I thought that was the weirdest part was the first 45 minutes. That's not saying the rest of the movie isn't weird. That's just the kind of stuff that I'm like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Whereas in the future, it's more like psychedelic weird and not like naked man stabbing people weird. So, whatever camp you're in, you may find it more weird or not. But I don't know. It just you're not wrong though. If you don't buy in the first 45 minutes, it's not going to be a pleasant watch for you.
Yeah, because the first 45 minutes takes place in Skid Row, Los Angeles. So Beau lives in an apartment in the middle of just the homeless encampments in LA. Violence everywhere, trash everywhere, drugs, homeless people, suspicious people at every turn, which I don't know. I enjoyed that setting. I thought it was very chilling, intense. But from there, you get what Cam said. You get his mom is not alive. She's dead. That's the big change that happens about 30 minutes. Then Beau freaks out, and we realize Beau is Afraid is literally like I'm not going to say the perfect title because I like Disappointment Boulevard better, but I'm going to say perfect title in terms of what it means for him, because he's agoraphobic. He doesn't like going outside. He's has anxiety. He has PTSD. He has trauma. He has mommy issues. He's always worried about side effects of everything. Like you saw, like when he flashed back to when he was a kid, he like didn't eat certain foods. He's like, oh, that has like red food coloring in it, and that can cause cancer. So he's like, anything that could go wrong, he's like worried about. So like we see in the beginning, one of the big conflicts is like his therapist says you have to take these pills with water, which is like just a standard thing everyone says with like pills, and doesn't really mean like, basically he takes it as like if he doesn't swallow water, if he doesn't swallow water with his pill, he's literally gonna die. So then he starts freaking out and he has to get out of his apartment, run across the street to a bodega or whatever to get a water. And so the first 30 minutes we find out his mom's dead, not alive, who he was trying to get home to because he missed his flight. So basically he would have been home, and he gets really guilty because like, damn it, I would have been home and been with my mom. And then about 45 minutes in, when he's frantically running around Skid Row, Holly Flax from The Office hits him with her like big like UPS truck size thing, like a big van, hits him, almost basically kills him.
Flax.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the conclusion of that first act. So we have like the two big conflicts. The first act is his mom's dead and Holly Flax hits him with the car, and then from there we transition into Act 2.
Quick, the most I laughed in this movie, I wrote it down, is when he's on the phone with this is the one time like I audibly laughed. It was very funny. He's on the phone with the guy who answered his mom's phone, he's like, I think she's dead or whatever, and then he's like, call back, you probably have the wrong number, just call back, it's not gonna be right. And he calls back and he's like, I'm so sorry, man. That's like the one thing he says on the phone that had me dying. It was so funny.
That was a hilarious moment because he's like, the UPS guy who calls him tells him he found his mom dead on the floor. He realizes Beau is not really all there in the head, so he's like, hey man, don't worry, like you probably just called the wrong number. Your mom's not actually dead. Just hang up the phone, call your mom. She's gonna answer. Everything will be fine. And he called back. Like,
I have this number saved.
Yeah. That was so funny.
That was good. And then, so we jump into Act 2 at that point, and as I keep going through kind of this movie, feel free to stop me whenever. But this point for Act 2, we're at Holly Flax's home, and basically we find out that her and her husband take in different people in need and give them medical care, rehabilitation care. We don't see a ton of their other patients, but we kind of get glimpses that, there's some PTSD people that used to serve in the war that they kind of take care of, which kind of repays a similar debt because their son fought in a war, so they kind of feel like they can kind of help other veterans in need and just other people. And Beau kind of fits that billing of, because he, in their eyes, was like, a homeless guy from Skid Row who doesn't really have a lot going for him. So they took him in, gave him medical care after they hit him with their car, and tried to get him all better because he had some serious stab wounds. He had some serious bumps and bruises from that car wreck. So then basically the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're at their house where he's just getting rehabilitative care. They have a daughter who's really, really into drugs. Their whole family's into drugs. They kind of pop the pills like desserts. And this is where I just really feel like the surface level, like pharmaceutical industry is taking over the world and helping everyone treat their disease, just like really shoved down their throat, where like they just kept popping pills like before everything they did in their life. And we see that they have, I don't know if it was a son or like people, like they were just watching after that, like stayed in the yard in those RVs.
No,
like,
that was
PTSD people.
That was a friend of his or someone he was deployed with, and they're just watching after him. I think he was probably injured when his son died or something like that. Yeah,
super weird moments. And basically the whole time he's there, he wants to leave to go home to get to his mom, and they kind of keep holding him there and saying like, no, you're not healthy enough yet, which partially felt weird because they were like holding him from getting back to his mom. But then at the same time, like he was severely like injured. So maybe they were just like truthfully like, you can't really go right now. You have like stab wounds galore. And then this act kind of concludes with their daughter drinks paint because they're all just freaking weird. She drinks paint, kills herself. Holly Flax tries to do CPR on her and drinks the pain out of her. It's just a very weird scene. And then from there, they all blame Beau for it because she like painted Beau's name on the wall. And then Beau basically has to run away because that PTSD guy that's staying in their yard starts to literally hunt him down like he's Rambo and chases him through the woods. And that kind of concludes Act 2. So is there anything we want to talk about with that?
I know he's crazy, like Beau's on drugs and probably schizophrenic or just like not all there, right? But you're clearly wearing an ankle monitor, man. You're wearing an ankle monitor.
Yeah, like this is our special like diagnostic health monitor.
Yeah, that's how they track him, obviously. But I know he's not all there, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. So then from there, that concludes kind of the Holly Flax scenes of the movie, and we get to the Act 3 where he goes in the middle of the woods. And this is the part that I think a lot of people saw in the trailer, which is where there's a play going on in the woods, and there's that whole like the gif and the scenes that everyone sees where it's like Beau walking in the fall, the spring, the winter, like all these things. This is where it gets really psychedelic. He's in the woods. There's a play going on. Cam, what do you got on this?
Yeah, this is where I took the note of a man dressed as a ladybug just kissed Joaquin Phoenix. Never thought you'd see that, huh? So
this is the kind of analysis you only get on the ReelTok podcast. But this is where basically he like, so in the description of this movie, they say it's like an odyssey for him trying to get home. And this is where it like really hammers that home, where it's like literally like the book, The Odyssey, or the story, The Odyssey, where it's like he's just going on this trek in his journey and saying like he's down to his last dollar and he could either feed himself or he could go see a play, and then he decides to see this play, and it's just weird. And this is where it's just so bizarre, because then this is where for me the blend between reality and what's just completely in his head got really confusing for me, because we have this whole play, and then from there we kind of figure out like this is where we got flashbacks of his previous life too, when he was a kid and he kind of meets this girl that he kind of gets his first crush on, and that girl they're on a cruise ship with his mom, and he meets this girl, he gets a crush on her, and basically this girl's like, wait for me, Beau, because she has to get her mom takes her off the cruise, and she
takes her off the cruise, which like what?
How do you do that?
Really? Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, she's like, wait for me, and he takes it completely literally and just doesn't have contact with a female for like 55, 60 years, or however old he is, because he's literally just waiting for this woman. But that's just the kind of guy he is. He's just so weird and concerned with everything.
Real men wait.
Yeah, real men wait for the girl you meet on the cruise. And this whole act kind of concludes then with that guy who was chasing him through the woods finally getting there, shooting up a ton of people. Like, I think he threw a grenade or something, unless I'm misremembering things.
He was Ramboing, for sure.
But like for me, like how much of that was that just like 100% real? Like, I don't know. Did he literally just kill like 50 people in the woods?
The second he got to the woods with those people, I was like, where? Because when they started like narrating the play, and it was like Beau's life, and he was like watching it, and they were like, oh well, he's standing up, and like Beau starts standing up.
But yeah, it's like narrating a play, and then it goes into the narration ends with him going to a play, and he's watching another narration of that play. So I wrote down that it was playception.
Perfect way to describe it.
Also, the angel that was like in the sky,
spooky
in the play,
spooky.
Bro, her monologue went on for like 25 minutes at least.
That's the problem. None of these were like short. It's a 4 or 5 part like movie, like Tyler said. None of them are short. Like it's not like you get through. Like you're right, and for me, it went way too long. But I will say this is my favorite, like we'll call act of the movie. This is where I thought I was like buying into it. And I'm like, I think we can get something here. I think like there's something here that I'm enjoying. And then after that, it just went back to me not.
The movie, that's the play scenes are where the movie like kind of lost me. I was like invested in them at first. I was like, okay, it's cool. It's just another leg of his journey. He's meeting these weird people, blah blah blah, and then he sits down to watch this play, and it starts, and that's where it kind of just gets off the rails. And I'm like, what the fuck are we watching?
Yeah, and we like see his dad there at the play, and like that had me confused too, like his dad showing up, and then because this is all happening when they said like they're narrating his life for the play, and it's like the man stands up in the audience and he sees like his father, and I don't know, weird. And from there, we should also mention this is where the like viral kid is.
And he wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he was, for one. And two, that kid looks weird. No offense to him.
Yeah, but like, is it one of those things where it's like an uncanny valley because we saw him on the poster for so long? I think that's what kind of really adds to it, because I think he is a pretty normal looking kid, but he just is so uncanny because for so long we all thought he was not a real kid and we thought he was a CGI guy, which is actually just completely hilarious that it literally took until the premiere of the movie for anyone on film Twitter to be like, oh shit, it's not just like the average person like us who like didn't know he was real. Like even the biggest film buffs on Twitter were all like, oh, this guy's real. And it's like, I wonder what that kid's thinking. Like just like seeing like
that kid posted a TikTok. He posted a TikTok literally saying, "I'm real, guys. Don't worry."
Yeah, and side note, real quick, like people got really mad at him for saying his 4 favorite films were like all movies from like 2010. It's like the kid's like legitimately 17. Like, what do you expect him to be like? Citizen Kane is like his favorite movie ever. Yeah. So then that wraps up that act, and at this point, this is where I'm pretty much bought out of the movie at this point. I'm really confused where the line between real and fake is. From here, Beau finally gets home after that guy comes, kills a bunch of people in the woods, and ends up killing himself because he like trips, and then the machine gun goes off and just shoots into his body. And like that's where it was just so bizarre that I was like, none of this can be real, right? Like that's just such a weird thing to happen. He gets home to his house, to his mother's funeral, he's kind of just chilling in the house after the funeral and the services are over. His mom's there with the decapitated head because the chandelier fell on her head. And the girl who he met on the cruise ship shows up to the funeral, and basically we find out she worked for the mom up until like a month ago, or this is what she's saying. She's like, oh, I worked for your mom, and this is how we kind of kept in touch. And then they finally reconnect. And we should mention that Beau has never had sex in his life, because the story of how his dad died was his dad lost his virginity to his mom and impregnated his mom. And the very first time his dad came, he died from a heart arrhythmia.
Murmur.
Yeah, heart murmur
or something.
And that's the way his grandpa died too. It was like his dad, his grandpa, his great grandpa. They all died the first time they had sex, is what the story was. So George, what did you hate about that scene?
The scene of like his mom telling that story, I think is shot so well. Like it was such a cool shot where like the lens is like right up against her face, and the light just kind of keeps going around. It keeps going from like blue to light to red. And I'm like, I wish she was saying anything else right now.
Dude, she says inside of me 15 times. And at the 13th, I was like, it's not. I think what this movie is like, hey, this is funny because you're uncomfortable. Yeah. And that's just not humor that really I laugh at. I think if you do, that's fine. Like if you like poop and fart, like I think humor and puke, that's not for me. And this is just kind of that.
I told me and Victoria noticed this after when we walked out of the theater. We kind of both said it. The humor was so scattered in terms of like what people were laughing at. There was not one joke that made like my entire theater laugh. Every joke had like a different bunch of people laughing, and I thought that was very odd.
I think the weird thing for the humor for me is there was times I did laugh out loud at the phone call was funny. I laughed at the part in the play when the guy just takes the gun out of like the speaker whenever all this shit goes down. But I think funny. The thing like for me, which like I have nothing against like not film bros, but the more cinephile side of things, like, you know, the A24 lovers, the people that like fringe movies. I feel like a lot of people in my theater, because I was at an early screening, so it was packed, were laughing because they're like in on the joke. They're like, oh, this is so like different and cultured of me to laugh at this moment. I was like, it was like not a funny moment, but I think they were laughing because they're like, oh, Ari Aster, you did it again, sir. I'm like, just stop, just get the balls out your mouth. And then so
I will say on the laughing side, my theater, like you're exactly right. They were uproaring at some things, but not others. And it would be like 4 people uproaring here, 3 people uproaring here at different points. But then there was one guy who was just snoozing down next to me, six seats down, and I'm like, someone wake this guy up.
I loved the guy who was sitting in front of me because he like seemed like the type that him and his wife go to movies. Like if there's an early screening, they'll try and go, but they didn't seem like they were there because they're like an A24 Ari Aster fan. And there's so many times like all I can see is his hand reactions, but he would just like be sitting there and he's like he just like look at his wife. He's like, what's going on here? I'm like, oh, this guy's in for something. Because it was like early on, he was just shaking his head. He's like, what is this? I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be fun to watch this guy. But so this act has the girl from the cruise shows up, and kind of expectedly, they have sex. It felt basically the tension in that scene very much felt like, oh, this is where it's going to be going.
This is the most uncomfortable sex scene that's consensual I've ever seen in a movie.
Good caveat to put in there. But yeah, so there's a sex scene. We're all like, oh my gosh, it's tense because is Beau going to die? All of the patriarchs of his family died. Big twist. He doesn't die. She dies when he comes inside of her. So something about the scene
exactly
in that family
how
is
I
just
felt
killer.
of like, oh, this is the big twist. She dies. And I was like, great. Like,
yeah.
But then there's another.
So not only does she die, she like dies and like is paralyzed, like frozen, and then she's like completely movementless, and then basically like from there we realize, and this is kind of transitions us into the fifth act. His mom's standing in the door, she's alive, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" And then like basically all these like kind of henchmen that work for his mom come in and like grab the dead body and just drag this naked corpse out of the room. And then from there we realize his mom's alive, and this is where things just go completely off the rails because we find out basically we get a flashback of when he's like in a bathtub as a kid and his mom throws something up in the attic and is like, never go up there. So there's always something up in there, and obviously it's like very symbolic for just like throwing something in an attic and just locking it away and just saying just like don't address that for your whole life. And so then at this point,
but it's his brother, right?
Yeah, that's
his brother's up there, and then also his dad.
Yeah, his brother and his dad, and his dad's a big penis. So yes. big cock monster, the boner, you could say, is up in the attic. And he's got like spider arms that are like sharp daggers, and because basically go ahead.
Yeah, so people like I really touched on this, and it was a lot for clicks just to say big penis monster like 15 times in the TikTok. It was more for clicks, to be quite honest. But people really hit home that like it's like, oh, his dad's a dick, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense because his mom says that's your dad up there, so like you get it, right? And I think that would have worked if this movie was funny. Like to me, at least, there were people that laughed. I think that would have worked for me if I had thought this movie was funny. But up until it's weird when you get into that horror comedy thing of you're like trying to be suspenseful, but also trying to be funny. Because it just, the genres don't work in that sense. And I in my opinion, and so I think this would have worked better and I would have been okay with it more if it made me laugh. But this is kind of where the movie I was like, okay, I'm out. It's not for me. I'm out. Big penis.
So monster. The big penis monster's in the attic, and literally like it's like for the fifth time, like you thought he's dead, but he's back again. The guy from the Holly Flack's house chasing him with the machine gun shows up again, and this is where I was just really like, okay, I'm once again just simply don't know what's real and what's not. He shows up in the attic, tries to kill Beau. The penis monster like stabs him through the head, kills him. So finally he's like dead, and then Beau basically falls down the attic, and she's like, "You see, this is what I protected you from." Basically, his brother eating from a dog bowl and water bowl in the attic, and his dad being a huge dick, literally. Anything we want to touch on that before we get to the final ending? I feel like we spent a lot of time on Beau.
Is this a like mommy issues movie or a daddy issues movie? Like it just, I don't know.
I think it's a mommy issues movie that's and a lot of her dealings with him as a result of his daddy. So it's like it's a whole family trouble.
Sure.
But yeah, because we basically realized like his mom lied to him his whole life to try and make him like not have sex and control him, and she's just been very controlling in his life. Always kind of thought he was a loser. A lot of Freudian mommy issues in this. And then from there we kind of, this is like, I don't know. We get to the fifth act here, which is another rug pull once again, where it's basically a Truman Show style reveal, which is again where I'm for the 17th time like, what here has been real and what hasn't? Because he's been in an arena. He's in an arena floating away on this boat, trying to get away from his mother, who he choked out and slammed through a table and runs away from his house. Basically, we find out that his therapist the whole time was working with his mom and telling her everything. And it kind of seemed like the whole thing was his mom faked her whole death to basically see what his reaction would be like and to see if he was upset enough, urgent enough to get home. How much did he actually love her? Just a very weird thing to do. And he chokes her, slams her through the table, runs away, gets in this boat, sails away, and then basically all those lights come on when he's sailing away. His motor goes out. We realize he's in the middle of a big Coliseum-style auditorium where it looks like it's some dystopian futuristic trial going on between his mother suing him or trying to get him killed for basically not loving him enough. And then Beau has like this 1-800 defense lawyer it was funny how like basically it's like you can't afford a real lawyer. So basically he gets like a cheap mic so no one can hear him. And yeah, so Truman Show-esque in terms of everyone just watching him like this whole time. Like I don't know when he was in that arena and when he wasn't. Because she makes comments like, like, oh, your fake little keys in your fake little apartment. And of course, Holly Flax passes on the note that says, like, don't incriminate yourself. He has an ankle bracelet. So clearly he's been under some kind of police-esque watch this whole time, supposedly. Or maybe it was once she hit him with the van. That's when they threw him in this prison type thing. So maybe the whole LA stuff was real with him in Skid Row. And then once he gets hit with the car, that's when he becomes in prison. And none of that's real because he's just on a drug trip inside of this prison cell. This is where I'm just completely lost for the movie because we find out he's basically been in this holding cell on trial from his mom for not loving him enough. Where do you guys think, like, what here's real and what's not?
I have no idea.
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't even thinking that this was like a Truman Show type thing. I truly thought that was just like you kind of just opened my eyes to a whole different way of looking at this movie right there, Tyler. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. Damn.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not smart enough to interpret this film because I knew the ankle tracker was that's where I was like, okay, and then the don't incriminate yourself note that Holly Flack passed. I was like, okay, something deeper is going on. But then once we got past the play scene and we got to the mom's house, I was like, okay, is she like actually alive? Like, is this actually happening? Like, and then obviously the giant penis monster. That's where I was like, there's no way this is happening. So at the end of the movie, I was kind of sitting there. I was like, all of that had to have been in this dude's head. Like, he is not taking too well to the death of his mother, and he's like bugging out. He's feeling guilty because he feels like she died before he was able to like truly like make up with her and like be on good terms with her. But wow, now I want to watch this movie again, Tyler, because you truly just opened my eyes to a lot.
This not to touch on like what's real and what's not, but this ending, it just took so long. It took so damn long, I thought, and like the trial scene just kept going and kept going. And it felt like for me, every scene just kept going and kept going. But I thought after we got Penis Monster, it was almost over. And then there's like 10 minutes or 15 minutes left in the film. It was too much. And just to touch on like other movies with like what's real and what's not, and with Joaquin Phoenix, Joker like is like a big like what's real, what's not. Did he kill himself when he got in the fridge? Whatever. But it feels like at least that movie has like a cohesive plot and like ending kind of, and this thing just isn't cohesive at all, in my opinion. And I think that's kind of where it falls apart. So it's not fun guessing what's real and what's not because it's not cohesive in my opinion.
That's fair. And to wrap it up of kind of where this movie ends then is he's on this trial for not loving his mom enough. The jury and the crowd's all convinced that he did not love his mom enough. So the judge, jury, and executioner, he's kind of in this boat. It eats him like a little, those flowers that, just like come up and just eat people. Eats him. Beau's dead. He dies to end the movie, or at least that's what we're led to believe. Like, I mean, he doesn't come back that he's alive, but I just don't know what's real or what's not. So he dies here. And then for me, like, sometimes rating movies are arbitrary. So for me, I was like, that's a 3 out of 5 movie. But when he was in the auditorium scene, I was like, if Ari Aster ends this movie by like starting the credits as people are walking out of the auditorium and then just has that play while like we're supposed to be walking out of the theater, I'm like, I'll throw him an extra 0.5 stars because for some reason I think I would like that. I was like, if he just has all the people walking out of the movie auditorium when everyone's walking out of the theater auditorium, I think that'd be a cool little touch. And he did that, so I was like, oh, I'll bump it up to 3.5. Just kind of like the little end credits there. But this is a weird movie. Is there anything else we want to touch on it? We went pretty deep into the whole story of this, but that's about as deep as I could personally go because I just don't know for a lot of this stuff. I think, yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to add?
My last note, Tyler, is when he strangles his mom, he stops strangling her, and then she like stands there for a second, then throws herself into the into like the fish tank or whatever it was, and I made a comment saying flop. We're going the other way. So that was a
which kind of makes sense when you see that she was actually alive. So maybe she like wanted to make him believe he was dead.
Yeah. So
George, any final thoughts?
No, I
I'll
think
let
we
Seth
just
know he
about
can come
wrapped
back.
everything up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bridge to
Wasn't for
get for
me.
while
Wasn't for
Seth's
me.
unmuting himself. So no more spoilers we'll talk about here. But yeah, it's quite the trip of a movie. It's a weird one for sure. And,
Seth, can you hear us?
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, we're done with spoiler
when does he get this? When does he get this? When do you get it?
May 18th, I think.
I think
Okay,
your
that's
real
not too
beef should be
delayed.
with A24. They're always the company that doesn't get it out.
Yeah, it's always A24.
Which for years they've had that indie vibe where you could put it aside, but I think at this point we can't really say A24 doesn't have the money to be distributing these movies worldwide at the same time. But yeah, and then one final note, which again, no spoilers, so don't worry, Seth, is I saw this movie in IMAX because that's what like the early screening was. I think it's in IMAX. I'm never gonna say don't see a movie in IMAX. I think it's always a cool experience, but sure, this movie looked pretty, but I didn't gain much from the IMAX experience. I don't know, Cam or George, if you saw it in IMAX, but I really don't think this is a movie you need to see in IMAX.
I don't know if you need to see it in IMAX, but like I said, the camera work was my favorite part, so I enjoyed it.
Right, camera work's great, but I don't think I gained anything from like the Uber speakers and the stadium seating of this crazy screen. I was like, this does not need to be an IMAX movie. But whatever, A24's most expensive movie to date. Ari Aster's taking a big swing, and we're all mixed on it. Cam's the lowest, George is a little lower than me, but I'm still not that high. But I will say I'm 100% all for giving directors a big budget and just giving them full creative control and just letting them make something like Babylon, Beau is Afraid. Even if it's a miss for me, I just love seeing something that's just pushing the boundaries and being weird. So I at least appreciate movies for like this for existing. But we'll wrap it up there with Beau is Afraid. Moving on now to Evil Dead Rise. The only one who's seen it so far is Seth, and he gave his initial thoughts on it when he initially saw it about a month ago at this point. But
no, not seen it. I wanted to speak to you about something.
I'm so mad.
I'm going to be seeing it like this weekend, so I will be seeing it before next pod. But yeah, don't worry, you can talk about whatever. But I'm scared for it, even though you tell me it's not scary. But give me your thoughts, Seth.
Yeah, I think I touched on it like briefly when I watched it 2-3 weeks ago, whatever it was. It's good. It's I had a good time with it. I think if you're an Evil Dead fan, there's no doubt in my mind you'll have a good time with it. It's absolute carnage, especially in the last like 30 minutes. It does take a while to get going. The dialogue can be quite clunky at times. There is the comedy element factor there, the absurdity factor that all the Evil Dead's had, which was nice to see. And it does, rely on the same Evil Dead, the Book of Dead and stuff like that. It utilizes the same things. It's still in that universe. And it was nice seeing it in a different area, not in the woods or anything like that, in a city environment, in these apartments. Scary. I think the trailer made it seem scarier than it actually is, the actual film. I don't think it's that scary at all. I know that you could say like whatever. I watched a lot of horror. It's not that scary. It's more just absurd in a graphic kind of way.
I'm glad you touched on that. Because that trailer was gnarly. Like the trailer made me think it would be like terrifying.
I mean, I did watch it on a laptop, so I think if I watched it in cinema, it might be like a little bit different. I think there is creepy moments. There's not really many jump scares. There's like one or two maybe. Tyler, have you watched The Evil Dead from 2013 yet?
I have not. I need to watch that and Army of Darkness.
Okay. So it's quite comparable to that in terms of the gore. They really step up a notch. It is fucking disgusting, a lot of it, which is what a lot of people go to Evil Dead films for. If you go to that Evil Dead films for that, which most people do, you're going to have a great time. I think the script wasn't amazing, but again, I didn't really go looking for that. It's unapologetically silly, absurd, and just obscenely violent. And I think I said in my review, it's just an onslaught of sadistic carnage for like the last like 45 minutes. And when I say bad, like it's really fucking bad, which is it's a fun thing to see. There's not really much to spoil, really. Like it's not something where you're going to go in depth. They do try and touch on themes of like motherhood at points, but I think we're not going to Evil Dead to see that. We're going to see Evil Dead to see stupid shit and gore and effects and stuff like that. And I will say some of the effects were a little bit wonky at times. But I think overall they did a really good job with it. I've said it before. It's very, very hard to have a horror franchise to have 5+ films and all of them be good. I rate all of them 3 or above. This one a 3.5, so just ahead of the 2013 version. However, I know some people like the 2013 version more than me. George, I think you'll rate it around the same. I can imagine you get like a 3.5. It's good. It's good fun. It's not like the classics. It doesn't have the same feel, but at the same time, it goes back to its old elements of absurdity, and once it gets going, it really gets going as well. So yeah, 3.5 for me. if you're a fan of the Evil Dead films, you will. There's no doubt you will enjoy it. That's all I'll say about it. Anyway.
Yeah, I'll ask you some questions that I've been seeing people talk about this film on Twitter. So some people had an issue with, they felt like the blend between trying to get that same Raimi comedy charm while also being like the 2013 more gory, scary version felt a little uneven at times, like how they're trying to play both sides. But I've seen some people say it worked really well. Some people said like that was kind of an issue for them in the movie where it felt a little like they didn't know what they wanted to be. Did they want to be the comedy Raimi or did they want to be the more, crazy, gory 2013? Where do you kind of land on that?
Yeah, I probably agree. I think it does struggle to balance that a little bit. I would say more rely on the elements of the 2013. So in terms of the gore, in terms of just the carnage, sadistic violence all the way through. But I would say that it does struggle to strike the perfect balance between Raimi's flair, Raimi's style, which, let's be fair, it's Sam Raimi. It's going to be hard to replicate that in a way, especially with the Evil Dead films. But I would say that the balance isn't there, especially in the first 30 minutes or so when it tried. Well, actually, the opening scene I really liked, and the title card I know you mentioned as well. That was great. The opening sort of 10 minutes is really, really good. I really enjoyed it. And the title card scene is fantastic. But then that kind of 20 minutes after that, when it's kind of setting you up with this family, whatever, it's neither here nor there. It's fine. It didn't really entice me too much. I do think it struggles to strike a balance. But then again, I would say what it does do well is when it comes to the elements that people go and watch the Evil Dead for, the violent gore, it does that. It levels up that as we've seen from each film. So yeah, I think it does struggle to strike a balance slightly.
Okay, and then another thing I've been seeing is people say, which is a weird comment to me because I haven't seen it yet, but people are saying there's a lot of characters that are just like throwaway and not that developed. But for me, like, I feel like a lot of horror movies are kind of like that, and I feel like for me, I've only seen the first two Evil Deads, and there's like definitely characters in both of those that are like throwaway characters that you don't really have to know much about. So like, was it egregiously bad in this one, or is that a criticism you don't really fall in?
No, not really egregiously bad, because again, I wasn't really expecting too much when it comes to that in general, because I know what I'm getting into with Evil Dead film, especially if you've seen the 2013 one. So I don't think it's egregiously bad. I think if you're not say if this is your first one, and you go into this as your first Evil Dead film, it might annoy you. But for someone who is already familiar with the franchise, as most people are at this stage when it comes to Evil Dead films, I don't think it'll really bother majority of people anyway. Also, I think it had one of the first ever transgender actors featured in horror. That's quite cool as well. Yeah. That's quite cool.
Yeah, so then one review I saw was basically like, if you like horror, you're going to love this movie. If you don't like horror, don't step a single foot into a theater. And I think what they were going for there was not necessarily because it's so terrifying, but because probably it's just so intense with the gore and how crazy the final 45 minutes are that, like, if you're not a horror fan, like, you're going to be just overwhelmed by this. So yeah, for me, I don't like scary movies much. I'm trying to get more into them, but I think normally, since like I'm just like a wuss with being scared, but like gore and intenseness, I don't really have an issue with. I think I'll be able to survive this one okay, but we'll see.
I think you'll be fine. I don't know what you'll think. I know exactly what George will think, because we tend to align with the Evil Dead films, but I don't know what you will think because you haven't seen the 2013 film, and it is different from the original trilogy. You could end up liking them more because the original ones do kind of fall more into that campy range, especially with Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2. So I don't know where you'll land. I think you should watch 2013 beforehand if you can. It's not necessity, but I think you should if you can anyway.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm going to go see this basically once I get Army of Darkness and Evil Dead 2013 watched, which should be sometime this weekend. So I'm either going to go tonight or tomorrow or the next day, but I'm for sure going to watch those ones first. And I didn't love the first or the second. A lot of people, when I said I gave like a 3 to the first, they're like, oh, the second one will get you more on board. But for me, I think I actually rated it like 0.1 lower. So I don't think I'm a huge fan of the Raimi trilogy. I still need to see Army of Darkness. So yeah, I'll be interested to see where I go.
I don't think you'll love Army of Darkness, to be honest. If you didn't love the first two,
fair. But I'll be interested to see how 2013
more campy. So
I'll be interested to see how 2013 is for me then. Like maybe like I love that and don't love the original. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna watch them this weekend, so look out for my Letterboxd reviews, and then I'll go in to see Evil Dead Rise in a theater alone. So that'll be a good test for me being a horror noob. So from there, 3.5 out of 5 for Seth, and George and I have it pretty high on our priority list to go see it. It's been fun seeing all our mutuals on Letterboxd. Like I've seen a lot of mutuals have been checking this one out this weekend. So Evil Dead Rise.
It's pretty like most people are pretty highly rated. I'm seeing like the people I follow. There's a lot of
4.5s.
Yeah, it's 4s, 4.5s, and then 3. The lowest I've seen on mine is a 2, and that's one person. Everyone else is a 3.5 or above.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't even seen anyone on
that
3.
2, Owen?
It's not Owen. No, I don't think he's seen it yet. To be fair, but it will be probably. No, it will be because he likes Evil Dead. I think they like that shit. So I don't know.
From there, we will move into Ghosted. We'll touch on this super quick. Cam's not here, but he'll give his thoughts when he comes back. Ghosted is just so with ChatGPT being a thing. A lot of people like to make the joke, being like, "Oh, this movie's like a social experiment. It's made by ChatGPT." This one genuinely, I think, was made by AI because there is a comical, like an absurd amount of famous actor cameos in this movie. I didn't write them all down. I'm just gonna name out the top of my head. But like Adrian Brody randomly shows up. Anthony Mackie randomly shows up. Who's the dude who plays Bucky Barnes, who's in Fresh?
Sebastian
Stan randomly shows up. Oh God, I wish Cam was here because there's like, not even kidding, probably 10 more actors who are like in big name projects every year that just show up for a quick scene. And it just literally felt like someone went to ChatGPT and said like, write an action rom-com with 15 A-list actors and a popular pop song soundtrack. And this is just what the movie spit out because like it's just a corny romance between Ana de Armas and Chris Evans. And then just every scene you just have these characters come in for 5 minutes of the movie, and it's like sickening how like many, like it's just like, oh my God, another actor just showed up. It's like, oh my God, another person I recognize from stuff showed up. And then so many just corny pop songs like what's that song, like Ooh, I'm a Rebel, Feel Good or whatever, that starts playing like 30 seconds into the movie, and that's when you just know you're like, oh, I'm in for a campy treat here.
I cannot believe how many people actually watch this movie.
That's what pisses me off because everyone's always like, oh, movie theaters are dying and streaming's taking over, and then we see this weekend so far of 2023, we've had so many big name releases come out in theaters. Ghosted by far is the most logged of all my mutuals. It's like, you guys are all complaining about streaming taking over. You're clearly feeding into it. But that's why I like tweeted. I was like, why is everyone watching Ghosted when so many movies came out in theaters? And like 2 seconds later, I quote tweeted that tweet. I'm like, now watching Ghosted. But I did my part and saw all these movies that were released except Evil Dead Rise in theaters. But all ended there for me. I gave it a 1 star purely. Like I know Cam's lower than it, but I gave it a 1 star purely because this movie's so bad. But like I didn't hate my time watching it. Where stuff like 65 and like Moonfall, like I just genuinely like wanted to turn off because I hated. This I was like, whatever. It's like a 1 star. It got me a couple little pieces of enjoyment, but it's a 1.7 out of 10 for me. So I'm not like saying it's anything
65
glowing.
hate, man.
Cam,
can you
what's
hear
your
me
thoughts
now?
on Ghosted? Yes.
Yeah, so my thought on first off on your post of everyone's watching this has without a doubt the biggest movie stars. And that's what people watch movies for now. Like whether you want to say like movies have movie stars anymore or not, whatever. But that's my thought on it. It has the biggest actors of the week. And like Joaquin Phoenix is huge, but he's not Chris Evans or Ana de Armas huge for the general audience. Now, that being said about Ghosted, this thing's ass, this thing's shit, this thing's piss, this thing's the worst fucking movie of the year. I'm not a Skinamarink fan. This thing was less entertaining than Skinamarink. I would have rather stood in front of my wall all 2 hours or whatever. And this movie, there are movies that I rate extremely low, like Transformers The Last Night, which I think is incomprehensible. But again, it's like kind of fun in the sense that it's Transformers action. This movie stinks, man. And I don't care. I'm going to spoil it. Spoilers 3, 2, 1. You've had your time. Fuck you and these stupid ass cameos. And it's fun that like Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan and Chris Evans are all pals. Fuck you. This is a money laundering tactic, Tyler. And I know you mentioned that. This is bullshit. And Ryan Reynolds shows up.
I forgot about Ryan Reynolds showing up for 2 seconds too.
Ryan Reynolds too. John Cho shows up. And this stupid ass goddamn Ana de Armas looks
Tim Blake
horrible.
Nelson shows up.
Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson. I didn't even think that was a cameo. I thought he was more a character, but you're right. It was a cameo because he was there for like 3 minutes and he gets and then he gets killed. Ana de Armas looks horrible for as worse as she can look. Like she looks amazing, obviously. She's a beautiful woman. Worst wig ever. I don't think she's on screen half the time. I think it's just a body double and they put her face on. Chris Evans is standing in front of a green screen this entire movie. I don't think they're next to each other. Fuck you for making Chris Evans this loser incel who can't, or not, he's not an incel, I guess, because he has sex, but he's this loser, hopeless romantic who can't find love. This is Chris fucking Evans. If Jesus Christ came to Earth, he'd probably look like Chris Evans if he wanted to look like an attractive person. Like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me, you stupid heads at Apple? Like, oh my God, man.
The thing that's so ridiculous about the cameos is, so Bern Gorman might not be a name brand actor, but I think we've all seen Watcher. He was like kind of the main guy in Watcher.
Yeah.
So for me, I literally thought like 20 minutes in this movie, I'm like, oh, I'm clever. Bern Gorman's the taxi driver. He's going to come back and be the villain. No, it's just the first of like 70 cameos. They just want to throw in actors you know from other stuff. But I literally thought, I was like, oh, that taxi driver, he's like innocent now, but he's going to be the big bad. No, you don't ever see him again, right? It's just like Bern Gorman's a taxi driver for a scene. It's like, what? This is weird. And like I mentioned in my TikTok tweet and Letterboxd review, like this movie said it was 2 hours. But like an hour 40 passed and like the credits hit, and I'm like, we got like 20 minutes of credits for this movie. Like this has to be like some scheme to money launder or something. The credits are insanely long. There's so many production companies, so many actors, so many songs they had to give credit to. Like this is such a fake movie.
The worst part of this goddamn movie is the sound editing. I do not understand what the hell was going on. You can't hear any of the dialogue, and then when the action hits, you blow your ears off. I don't know if, Tyler, you had that experience, but I was watching this in my room. Like, we just put Bailey to sleep, so I don't want it super loud, but I had to turn it up. So say, like, my TV set on 15. I was at 30 for this entire movie, and then the action just blew my ears off, and I had to like turn it down. Oh my God, that was the worst part. And then Ana de Armas, and I said this in my TikTok review, Ana de Armas is a really good action actor. Like, she's really good in No Time to Die and like I don't even remember Gray Man. She has some action. She's fine. She's better in that than this. And they just waste her, man. Like, and I've seen a lot of tweets about like her last 5 have been stinkers. I have, and I think she's too popular for her own good right now. Where she was getting put in not a small role in Knives Out, but she's like genuine, like she's not the hot girl in Knives Out. Like, she's a real person in Knives Out. And then in Blade Runner 2049, she is the hot girl, but like, it's different in like, she's like a figment of Ryan Gosling's, not imagination. She's just AI, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think she's too famous for her own good right now. She's getting typecast in a lot of roles as like this attractive girl who's also kind of actiony. Other than, and I think Blonde was the big swing of like, this is my Oscar attempt, which it was. She got nominated for an Oscar, but she made a movie that she didn't make the movie. She was in a movie that was extremely, we'll say, rude to Marilyn Monroe, and so people don't like it. But she was good in it. I don't know, man. Fuck you.
Well, we don't need to go too much deeper into Ghosted, but the amount of times they say Taxman in this is sickening.
Oh my God. My God.
It's like it's just stupid. Like, not even exaggerating, 250 times they say the word Taxman, because that's like the name of like the covert agent they're trying to track down.
Mm-hmm. I think this is the best I've ever done on just like straight up review. Like, my reviews don't do well, and it's probably because I just ramble, which is fine. This was a rant, and I got a lot of comments of like, just turn it on and like have fun, like watch it with your wife, turn it on. And I can do that. I think I find a lot of movies you can turn off your brain and have fun. This is not one of them for me. I was watching with Emma, and she was like, and during the first action scene, she's like, have they spoken in the last 30 minutes? And I'm like, yes, they have, but you can't fucking hear it because the sound editing is so bad. And then she's like, this sucks. Like, she didn't like it. And so I watched this with Emma. I watched it with my significant other. We were not doing anything. We just turned it on. It sucks. It's bad. I'm very happy for you if you had a good time with it, but it sucks and it's bad.
Yeah, it's an average 2.4 on Letterboxd. I need movies like this to exist, though. I love movies like this for a specific reason. Mm-hmm. That's because once we're done recording this, I go into probably like 4 or 5 hours of like clipping up videos, making thumbnails, posting stuff to Patreon. Like, Saturdays and Sundays, I'm grinding in here. And I always have movies on. And I can't be watching Bergman, David Lynch, Tarantino on my other monitor. I need movies like Ghosted to exist in this world to get me through these long days of grinding my computer, where I can just have some mindless shit on my TV and just kind of be there. And just give me something to look at, pop in every 10 minutes, be like, oh, that's an interesting plot line. Keep moving with my day. So Ghosted, I respect movies for you like that, but we'll move on. One thing, like,
and it's probably going to do numbers for Apple TV Plus. I'm sure it'll be like the highest streamed movie ever. Or something.
I loved Chris Movies Are Therapies review on Letterboxd. He says, sometimes I worry I'll never sell a screenplay, and movies like this give me hope. That's pretty much the greatest way to sum it up.
That was funny. That's funny.
And then, as I mentioned, we're pretty heavy on movie reviews this week, but not a ton of nerd news and stuff, so we're taking a little more time in the movie reviews, but I'll go quickly over the Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, because when Jake Gyllenhaal has a movie, I know not just me, but a lot of people perk their ears up and want to see what he's on screen for next. Obviously, he has the last two movies he's been in have not been very successful, with the Ambulance not being very well critically received and Strange World being a massive... Strange World was the biggest box office flop of 2022, so can't really get much worse.
What was the last film he did that was, like, very highly regarded?
Probably like Nocturnal Animals.
We talked about this. I said he's on a stinker. We've talked about this in an episode. Jake Gyllenhaal is on a stinker run.
Oh, it'd be Ultra, wouldn't it? I think. Oh yeah, Ultra.
What was that? 2016.
17.
I think Nocturnal Animals has a cult following from 2018, but
Nocturnal Animals.
It does. I did like Thrillers or whatever, and that was like people's number 4 or something.
Yeah, it's got
right.
Am
I thinking of the right movie?
No, it's him and Amy Adams. Yeah.
I am, but I've never seen it. But it was like people highly rated it. He's on a stinker run.
But I'll get into this quick. So I've been pretty vocal that I don't love Guy Ritchie movies. Like, the comedy just doesn't really work for me. Most Guy Ritchie movies are action-packed, thriller-esque movies that have a lot of, dry comedy, witty banter to kind of ease the tension and make it more lighthearted. That's the same exact thing here, which from the trailer of this movie, I thought this was going to be the least Guy Ritchie movie ever, which in some aspects is true. But from this trailer, you would think this is just going to be a straight-up war movie, like not really going to have that Jason Statham type dialogue that Guy Ritchie's known for, that just has those witty quips. We didn't get that, though. The first 30 minutes of this movie, when they're on like the military base before everything goes down, Jake Gyllenhaal, Dar Salim, and a lot of the co-stars, they all have that witty banter back and forth, and I don't think any of them are capable of doing it. Like, Jason Statham is great at doing that, and all the cast of like The Gentleman, Snatch, they're comedic. They have good comedic elements. Jake Gyllenhaal, as much as I love him, not a comedic actor, nor is any of his supporting cast in this. So when they're delivering these lines, I could just like hear other actors saying them, but like Jake Gyllenhaal trying to do these witty quips didn't work for me, and I just found it really uncomfortable to get into the movie with this like typical Guy Ritchie dialogue. But from there, we get into it. Basically, the story, as you can see from the trailer, is like Jake Gyllenhaal, his squadron gets attacked by the Taliban. Him and his translator, Dar Salim, are the only two that survive. Jake Gyllenhaal gets like basically almost killed from how badly injured he is. And Dar Salim takes him across the entire desert of Afghanistan, drags him, pushes him, drags him the entire way for miles and miles to get him to safety, saves his life. Jake Gyllenhaal gets recovered, brought home. And they basically find out that Dar Salim is still in Afghanistan, still in danger. So he's like, this dude saved my life. I got to go back and protect him, bring him, get him visas for his family, bring him home. This is based on a true story. So there's a real sergeant that it's happened to, real translator. And just from like the description of that, this isn't a movie that really lends itself to being very cinematic. Most of the movie is Jake Gyllenhaal being unconscious and another dude dragging him across the desert. And then once we get done with that, it's Jake Gyllenhaal flying back over there, driving across the desert. Like, a lot of this is just long driving and walking across the desert, trying to find someone. Just didn't really care for it a ton. The final action scene is like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they had no advisors. I mean, I don't know anything. I've never been in the military. I feel like they had no military advisors on like how an operation goes down, because basically they just have like a chopper gunner in a scene that's just, I don't know. There's a very, very cinematic final scene, I'll say, and something that you're like, if this happened in real life, I don't really know that the military would be doing shit like this, but maybe, who knows. Funny thing, like Anthony Starr, like he was like teased, like, oh, first like Anthony Starr in The Covenant. He's in the movie for 45 seconds. Like, legitimately, he doesn't come in until the final 20 minutes, and in that 20 minutes, he's on screen for 30, 45 seconds. So it's just weird. The whole movie's Jake Gyllenhaal and Dar Salim, just them two. You get classic Jake Gyllenhaal moments of him screaming in a mirror and being belligerently drunk and having rage-filled scenes. For me, I give it a 3 stars, very middle of the road. There's parts I like, parts I didn't like. Movie got a round of applause, standing ovation in my theater, though, but it was like all like dads that were just like, yeah, the U.S. military saved the day. So it's like, if you're a dad, you'll probably love this movie, or if you like war flicks, you'll probably like it. But for me, I thought it was just very average, which unfortunately for me with Guy Ritchie, that's just kind of how I see everyone. So I'm like, that was just like average to me. Whatever.
Right now, it's quite highly rated, I believe.
Yeah,
to,
it
like,
actually is
previous
doing
ones.
pretty well.
He's doing another film with Henry Cavill as just wrapped film, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the weird thing with Guy Ritchie is that the Operation Fortune, like he actually finished filming like a long ass time ago, and
Like
for
a
some
long
reason
time
just
ago,
kept getting delayed. So like that came out in America like just like 2 months ago, and then this just came out. And I'm guessing the movie just finished wrapping will come out next year. So I think he's on like a 1 film per year basis, which is still like a crazy pace. But I think it like is even elevated more by like Operation Fortune being delayed. But yeah, this movie right now is a 3.7. So yeah, it's pretty high.
I need to take back my comment. I need to take back my comment. I forgot. Spider-Man: Far From Home is his last good movie. That's my fault. My fault.
He is credited for No Way Home too, though.
Also, No Way Home. Yeah, Far From Home's better. Best live-action Spider-Man, but that's fine.
Cam, we'll keep it right back on you. So I gave a 5.9 out of 10 for 3 stars for The Covenant, but Mandalorian season 3 very polarizing. As I tweeted, you were like one of the only people I saw defending it. Everyone seemed to just dislike it, even people that generally seem to like Star Wars content. Where do you fall on that?
It's weird. Sorry, Carl. It's weird because I was seeing so many people negative about it on social, but I was seeing Cam positive. However, I go on IMDb because I'm like, this must be like a 5 rated episode. It's actually like pretty highly rated as well, but I've only seen negative.
So I don't think people's issue was with the episode. I think people and some people this again, it frustrates me a little. Yeah, the season as a whole, definitely the worst of the 3. It's the weakest of the 3. It's slow. I'm fine with the side story episodes with the like overarching last 10 minutes of each episode kind of moving the plot. I like that, of the show, and I've liked that since season 1. This does it a little bit like slower, I would say. So I'm not gonna argue that. I still think it's good. Some people are arguing this, and some people, Josiah Smethurst, coming for you. I love him. He said this is worse than Book of Boba Fett, which is just in my opinion, an asinine take, which is fine. This episode was really good. I don't know what people are upset about this episode. It's a lot due to fan theories again. This episode was the end of the season, and guess what it did? It ended the season. And it set up Ahsoka. It didn't set up the movie they announced. And I think that's a lot of people's biggest gripe, whether they want to admit it or not. I saw a lot of things that are like, I'm really disappointed in what happened because it just ended. It was a happy ending for the characters that were in the show. And people are mad that like no one died. Someone died in the previous episode. And it was like a fairly emotional death on like Star Wars TikTok. People were like happy with that death. So I don't necessarily know. I think people liked the last 2 episodes. I don't think they liked setup for it. And I've also seen that comment. I won't get into it a ton. Could have utilized some characters some more. Especially Moff Gideon wasn't utilized this season a ton. He was more of a lurking character. I think this episode had some of the best action we've seen in this series as a whole. And I think most people agree on that part, at least. Like there's a very good in the air fight because Seth and Tyler, like you probably don't know or care. Mandalorians are big for like using jetpacks. So that's like a big thing they have. So there's a big like in the air fight of like a ton of Mandalorians. And it's cool to see for me, at least. It's very cool to see like a lot of characters that are from like animation move to live action. Just cool to see as a Star Wars fan, in my opinion. It definitely like they could have teased some stuff. I'm not saying they couldn't have, but they wanted to end their show and end their this could be like the end of the Mandalorian. I'm pretty sure they confirmed they're doing a season 4 and they'll do more up until that movie. I think that movie will be like the nightcap of this show. This could have been the end of the show, and I think people would have been happier, honestly. I think if they didn't just like have these theories that it's going to like tie into Ahsoka in any way or into this new movie that's going to be the culmination of the Mandoverse, which just got announced. Like, I think it would have been better received. If you didn't like it, that's fine. To say it's worse than Book of Boba Fett is bonkers.
Was it an actor or was it someone on the cast or crew that said like they were
so,
like, oh, if you thought episode 9 was intense, just wait until this week. I think that added too many flames to the fire too.
So that was the guy who plays Mando, who's not Pedro Pascal. So the guy who actually like walks around as a Mandalorian. Yeah, he lied. But guess what? He got himself in the news for a week. He has not for an entire 3 seasons ago. No one knew who this fucker was before last week. So good on him. He blatantly lied. Like there was nothing. There was no death. Maybe he thought like that episode 7 was the one he was talking about, and that's where like the big death would be. But he just blatantly lied.
Yeah, because I hear you guys have been asking for more from these episodes. Just wait till this final one, and like arguably it's probably like from what I've been hearing, like the least happened in terms of the season. So I don't know. Funny. But yeah, positive review all around from you. Fun.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not gonna say it's the best thing ever. Like I think, in my personal opinion, this is better than the season 1 finale. Season 1 finale, these more seasons to come with especially with Darksaber, which. Again, you guys don't know or care. It's a big thing from the Clone Wars animated series and Rebels animated series, and they teased it in live action, which is awesome. I think that is why people look back on season 1's finale and think it's incredible. I think that's the sole reason, basically, and a couple of them. But
would you say overall this season is your least favorite season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's more a testament to the other 2 seasons as opposed to you ripping.
I hold the other 2 seasons very highly, but I think most people agree this is the worst, which is fine. Yeah. But season 3, that's not missing, and I'm not going to touch on it a bunch. Ted Lasso fucking bangs this season. It's so damn good, and most people agree on that. Did the 62-minute
episode come out yet? Or because a lot of people are mad that a sitcom are having like an hour plus episode.
The last episode was like an hour 9. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking
people
great.
were pissed off.
It was
about
incredible.
That, but
I didn't see that, but maybe that's fine. It was great.
I think they were just pissed off the runtime for even watching the episode. It wasn't really the same episode. It was bad. Like, why is a sitcom 69 minutes? But it's like, whatever.
Because it's good. That's why, peeps.
All right, everyone. If you're enjoying this episode so far, make sure to hit that like button on YouTube, or if you're on Spotify or Apple, rate us 5 stars. Leave us on a review on Apple if you are. We just passed 1K reviews on Spotify. Let's keep climbing those charts. Apple, I think we're like almost at 100 reviews. So rookie numbers
we
compared
hit
to
it.
Spotify. We did. Okay. But still, we got to get more Apple reviews. So leave us one. If you have Apple Podcast downloaded, go pop over there, even if Spotify is your main driver. But Cam, I'll turn it to you for this tune to get us into the next segment.
Oh, hey, it's trailer time.
And
I forgot where we were. I was about to do Star Wars theme.
Well, that was you were perfect.
I missed that.
Good job. So we'll start with Insidious: The Red Door. I haven't dipped my toe into this universe at all. Don't really know if I want to dip my toe. You don't see the first one? That can't be a surprise to you.
Watch the.
Yeah,
I mean,
that is a surprise.
That is a surprise.
The first one you should see.
So, like
Tyler, I haven't seen it either, and I don't know if I plan on seeing it.
You should. At least the first one. I hope someone picks it on the Patreon draft when I have my hosting week, because I'll pick that.
I wouldn't usually be surprised that you haven't seen a horror film, but like the Insidious, when I was in school, that was like the film that everyone would always speak about.
Yeah,
it's such a big modern horror.
It was like Insidious, Paranormal
Activity,
Activity, Conjuring. That those got everyone talking.
Yeah,
you should watch Insidious. Trailer
Activity took it down and died.
So, what do you guys think of the Insidious: The Red Door trailer? Does that have you excited to dive back into this universe?
Not at all.
Makes no sense, man.
James Wan isn't working on it, is he?
No.
Not at all.
But
He's not writing, he's not producing, nothing, because he signed with Blumhouse. I think he's signed with Blumhouse Productions now, and Warner Brothers are doing it. So I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird one. I was excited if James Wan was back, but now I'm like, and also George.
It's directed by Patrick Wilson.
Oh, is he directing this one?
Yeah, he's directing. So he came back, and Ty Simpkins is back, right? And everyone, like the original cast is back.
They're all back, and it's also it's a direct. So it goes Insidious, and then Insidious 2 is a sequel to 1. Insidious Chapter 3 is a prequel to both of them.
So yeah.
Full standalone film, and now this one is a sequel to 1 and 2.
Did you like the last 2?
I love Insidious. I like Insidious 2, and then everything else I don't much care for.
I think that like Insidious 1 to Insidious 2, there was like a huge drop for me.
But also in like a world where like we're getting so much psychological horror now, I'm still gonna watch this movie because it's like
watch it definitely.
Watch it. Honestly, I didn't know Patrick Wilson was directing. That kind of changes my my outlook, because I trust him because he's been a part of this universe forever.
Sorry, Jay's one is producing this. I'm thinking of the Conjuring series that he's not working on.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what I'm thinking of. He's producing this.
Like when Michael B. Jordan directing Creed 3, it's like, you know, they care about it. Maybe it could be good, you know.
Yeah, that got me excited.
It's not the same writer actually as the first 3, so maybe who knows?
Then it could be hit or miss because one
it
is
could
amazing.
it could be the first one, but it could be the third one. Yeah,
but no, I'm excited.
I
like the idea that it's a sequel to 1 and 2. That's the only thing that's really keeping me like interested.
Yeah, I agree.
Then we also got a trailer for Hypnotic, starring Ben Affleck, directed by Robert Rodriguez. It's about a detective investigating a mystery involving his missing daughter and a secret government program. And we have William Fichtner, who he just always plays a bad guy in movies, and he seems like he has some kind of like basically like the title says he has like a hypnosis power that like he can put people under like a quick hypnotic spell. Like I tweeted immediately after seeing this. I didn't see this trailer in the first time until right before my Covenant screening, and I was like, "This is either going to be like the corniest movie ever, or it could be like a low key banger." I want to go through Robert Rodriguez's directing credits quick.
Well, he did Sharp Boy and Lava Girl. That's all.
It's an interesting one. So he directed From Dusk Till Dawn. He directed the Spy Kids trilogy.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. This is the funniest. This is the funniest filmography I've ever seen.
And then, what else do we got?
Machete.
Dusk Till Dawn.
The Book of Boba Fett, 3 episodes. The Mandalorian, 1 episode.
Alita into that.
Yeah, Alita Battle Angel, written by James Cameron, was directed by Robert Rodriguez. So he just like goes from like weird action flicks to like kids movies to like kind of gory movies to I don't know. But this movie looks like a mystery.
Don't worry,
thriller.
guys. He has a book too. It's called Rebel Without a Crew, or How a 23-year-old filmmaker with $7,000 became a Hollywood player.
He's done it all. He's directed a Lady Gaga music video, an Ariana Grande music video, Haley Reinhart music video. So he's just like, this man just loves doing anything with the movie industry or book industry, I guess. So he's got quite the diverse filmography. I wouldn't really say he's a huge heavy hitter on his filmography, but I don't know. This movie looks interesting. It's got me intrigued for sure. I think it looks like a very average movie, but it might have.
It's opened potential. Very poorly on.
Bro, we're getting another Spy Kids movie.
What?
I think I did see that.
Spy Kids Armageddon, starring Gina Rodriguez and Zachary Levi.
Wow.
Okay.
A reboot of the franchise.
George, if you're on his thing, have a look at Hypnotic. Just look at the rating graph for it.
Oh God,
the new film. It's not great.
Oh, isn't this the second trailer?
I'm on Wikipedia.
Is it?
Yeah.
If it is, I never saw it.
It's the first full-length trailer.
Okay. I was like, I thought we got this trailer already. But...
Yeah. This looks like Hypnotic looks like a ChatGPT type screenplay.
It looks like it literally, to me, what I got the impression of is Robert Rodriguez watched Memento, and he's like, I'm gonna try something like that. Just like, with the images and with like the mystery and the confusion.
The highest review is a goofy take on Inception and Shutter Island, and it's boring. So
I don't like that. The writer of the movie, alongside Robert, whatever his name is, also wrote all of the Godzilla and Kong movies, the new ones.
Oh,
hey, those are good, man.
They are good.
I wouldn't say the writing is what makes.
Yeah, it's not the writing that makes it good.
That's definitely
We also got a trailer for Hulu original White Man Can't Jump. This one's interesting because to me it doesn't look great, but a lot of people got mad about this one, and I saw a tweet like, I know Cam, you say I give crap to the Lights Camera Barstool guys, but I'll give them credit here because I do agree with this take. Like a lot of people are hating on like this reboot, but they're like, what? They're basically saying like the revisionist history on this is crazy. Like the original White Man Can't Jump, people are like revisiting in their mind and saying it was like one of the great movies ever that should never be retouched. I don't think like it was anything that special.
I think it's a really good film.
You think it's up there?
Yeah, hold on.
I really like the original.
I've been saying forever, like, don't remake this movie. It's not a movie that needs to be remade. But that's not like me saying, oh, it's like, don't remake White Men Can't Jump because it's so like this greatest movie of all time. It's just like it's a cult classic. Like it means so much to people, and like a remake at the time just felt like a cash grab. I will say I like that trailer a lot. It got me
I
laughing.
like the trailer.
Really?
I think Jack Harlow's kind of he's got that. He's He's got that vibe of I don't know.
I think it's gonna be good.
It's
Maybe not good, but it's gonna be enjoyable. The last joke of that trailer had me crying.
Mhm.
Absolutely hysterical joke. But the whole trailer was just like you have Lil Wayne's uproar in the background. Like I don't know. I'm excited. The Mad Max
good
joke
song.
made me
Good song.
when he's got a flamethrower. What is this, Mad Max? That got me to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, that was funny.
But I could have done without this movie, but I could do without every movie.
Yeah,
it's a
of
Hulu
all the
original. I'm
things
sure they'll do
getting
numbers.
remade, this is an odd one to be losing your mind over.
Yeah.
I haven't seen White Man Can't Jump since
It's such
probably 2007.
Tyler, the guy who directed this, you watched his house party and you gave it a 0.3 out of 10. So it's a good start anyway.
Well, clearly this director loves basketball. If he
Wait, what did you give House Party?
0.3 out of 10, but I love it not 0.3. I think I like that terminology a lot better.
That is so fucking fun.
But yeah, that was a movie about LeBron James. So I guess this guy he loves ball. I guess can't.
Dude knows ball. He's a ball guy.
I think this will be terrible. I'm just gonna call it.
We also got first like full in-depth trailer of The Idol, which is a new TV series coming to Max. Sam Levinson kind of on the.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was just on Letterboxd. I think the funniest thing, and obviously Letterboxd has like the you can change your posters feature. I love seeing people change posters for like shitty movies. Like, there's no reason why anyone should be going in and changing the poster for Ghosted. But I'm seeing like every different.
Are there any fun ones?
No, there's no fun ones, Cam. I look for every movie. There's nothing great for Ghosted. But,
I just changed it. I didn't even watch the movie.
So Sam Levinson's in an interesting spot because he's the creator of The Idol, which looks like not similar vibes to Euphoria, but similar in terms of we're going to have what seems to be a lot of nudity. And people are kind of starting to be like, what's going on here, Sam Levinson? You have a lot of young females in your shows that are just always naked. And this looks like it's going to be, is it Lily Rose Depp is the main actress? It looks like she's just going to be straight up nude the whole time with The Weeknd. And I don't know, a lot of people are starting to get a little weird with it because, Euphoria, I never watched Euphoria.
Is this the series that everyone was up in arms about on Twitter because it came out that quote about how he was like, "Oh, this looks fucked, man." Yeah.
I think it just looks icky, man. Like I just like.
Wait, what are you talking about?
The limited series.
No, but what quote are you talking about?
I don't exactly know what it was. It was about something that happens with the girl in The Weeknd in the show, and everyone was like, "Why are you putting that in? That's really weird."
No, I thought you were talking about. Didn't The Weeknd release something that like as like him shitting on like maybe Rotten Tomatoes or something from the series, and not actually shitting on it.
Yeah,
and it's just not good. And it's like, why did you just own yourself with this? That's what I remember.
No, it was like a. Apparently, there's some weird like sexual abuse in the show, and people were like, "What are you doing?
I mean,
why are you putting that in there?"
If you've seen Euphoria, I feel like you kind of understand the mindset that Sam Levinson is in. He's not the
True,
best dude.
but Euphoria was like tame compared to what I heard in the show. So
yeah, there's a lot of reports that came out about production of this that were like Lily Rose Depp was often like freezing on set, like cold, because she's like basically just like naked on set the whole time, and that didn't seem like the best production of a series. So we'll see how that goes. It's one I'm going to skip, whether it looked this way or not, or the reports like this that came out or not. It's just like not a show that I'm watching. So, but yeah, came out. People are excited about it. Same thing for like White Man Can't Jump with Jack Harlow. It's like The Weeknd's in something, so people are going to be watching. Got our final trailer for The Boogeyman, and I just wanted to mention that I just can't wait for this movie to come out because I just hate seeing this freaking trailer before movies because I genuinely don't think as a movie this will be like the scariest of movies compared to other stuff. But I think they made a really like a trailer that just, and I think it's the sound editing too because it's always in the theater. Like what's on the screen never gets me in this movie trailer, but it's always so damn loud in the theater that I'm like, it's impossible for me not to jump when it's just like blasting my ears with these like jump scare moments. But I don't know.
I haven't seen this trailer once.
I think people are starting to get low key excited for it. I've seen this trailer before, like every movie release.
Really?
Where it's always like the ball rolling under the bed and then like the face appears and I don't know.
There's been like early screenings and shit already, and apparently the creature design was so egregious that it made people like talk amongst themselves for like 45 seconds to a minute after it was revealed, and they missed like everything that happened after the initial like display of the creature, that they had to go back in post-production and change the design of the creature so that people wouldn't react as heavily to it.
George, did you watch Host? The Zoom horror when it's like they're on the camera. It's like a 60-minute horror. Came out for you. 2020. Yeah, so it was like you know what those horrors where it's like
it's like unfriended.
Yeah, but it's unfriended but better.
Okay.
That shit was scary, and it's only 55 minutes, so get on that. But he did that, so who knows? Because that was actually quite scary, genuinely.
Okay. Add that shit to my. No, I have not seen.
Final trailer we got is American Born Chinese, which is a Disney Plus series that basically has the entire cast of Everything Everywhere All at Once in it. Feels very interesting, cash grabby to me. I mean, obviously they produced it before all the Oscars were given out, but it seemed like they knew that this was going to get a lot of traction based on how well received Everything Everywhere All at Once was. Yeah. Just seems weird to have like the entire cast in it. Disney clearly is like not doing great financially right now with like any of their projects, so like feels like they're just trying to throw up a hope and a prayer and be like, look at all these people, watch our show. But this just doesn't seem like Disney's target audience to like be caring about the Everything Everywhere All at Once cast. Like people who like love, you know, Stephanie Hsu, Ke Quan, they're gonna go like maybe watch it because they're like, oh, I want to see him in a show. But like the average Disney Plus subscriber aren't gonna be scrolling around their page and see those faces and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this now because of them.
Yeah,
it just seems like a weird project to me. It doesn't have me super excited. I don't know if any of you have any thoughts on it.
Nothing. Didn't watch it. Didn't watch the trailer, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just weird that they're all in this movie. But from there we'll get on to nerd news, and we don't have any notable Star Wars news, but I want Cam to do the jingle anyways.
Well, this is just Star Wars, but okay. We talk Star Wars. We talk Star Wars.
And there's no notable Star Wars news this week. So Cam, can you close out the Star Wars segment for us?
We just talk Star Wars. We just talk Star Wars. Star Wars.
And there you have it. With Mandalorian Season 3 wrapping up and Star Wars Celebration last week, not really a big surprise that it's a light week on Star Wars news. We'll jump into DC because nerd news this week is really light. Just a quick note. Pre-production has begun on Superman Legacy. Will begin filming in Atlanta in January. A lot of people have noted that, again, I'm no production expert, but this is a longer pre-production process than usual. And people are like, there's a really long pre-production. And I'm like, it's like the beginning of his universe. It doesn't really surprise me. I feel like there's a lot more you have to set up for this movie than just like a standard movie. I feel like there's a lot of how's like not only this movie, but how's this going to tie into everything else we're trying to do. So it makes sense they're going to have a super long pre-production. But
gotta get a cast going.
Right, exactly. And then we'll jump into Marvel. The Sam Raimi trilogy, just a note for anyone who's a fan of the original Raimi trilogy of Spider-Man, who isn't a fan of that trilogy, honestly. It'll be available on Disney Plus now. And then
I think it's the first time ever.
Yeah, and then, so it's available on Disney Plus now. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or if they just like bought like temporary rights to it. And then the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 in a couple weeks are going to be on Disney Plus. So every Spider-Man movie of live action, at least in the modern era, are going to be on Disney Plus in a couple weeks. So if you're interested in those, go check them out.
For some reason, it's only Homecoming. So it's not going to be the other two Tom Holland movies, which I don't know why. I don't understand rights to things, but weird.
Sony's all messed up with that, but
yeah.
And then Juno Temple is set to star in Venom 3. So cool. The Ted Lasso universe continues to get cast in projects. So good for them. Great show. Glad to see. Because Ted Lasso, other than Jason Sudeikis, really didn't have any heavy hitters in the cast. So the fact that they're all kind of getting boosted from this show is cool to see.
My one Star Wars piece is we had that clip of Guardians of the Galaxy saying fucking. And I assume it's not going to be bleeped in the movie. We'll see.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
No, I'm pretty confident it won't be bleeped in the movie, but if it is, that's a new low for me.
I'm
just
like,
don't put it in if you're going to bleep it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not confident in that.
No, I don't think it's going to be bleeped. I solely think this is to prepare people for like Deadpool 3. And it's like, hey, just so you know, we're getting Deadpool 3. We're gonna this bad word coming. They did bleep it in Iron Man 2, but that was like a TV broadcast when Iron Man's on trial for his Stark Tech. He's like, fuck you, like whatever his name is, the Hydra guy. That made more sense because it was like on TV. So obviously they bleeped on TV. Yeah, it does matter. I don't think it's going to be bleeped. All I wanted to say is I think it's getting you ready for Deadpool 3.
Yeah. You're joking about that, but I guarantee 100% that like Disney has focus groups that are like reviewing that and being like, what are people thinking about us throwing in the F word? Like I guarantee they're actually doing that.
Probably, but I think it's and this is not my thought, it's Sammy J Reacts, who is a content creator on TikTok. He commented on like one of my tweets about it and said it'll be like a Thor in Thor Love and Thunder thing where they blurred his ass in the trailer, and then like on screen you just saw Thor's ass. Plus 10 points.
We'll get into just some general movie news now. A lot of this is just quick stuff I'm going to rip off so we can talk about it more if you want to. I just wanted to mention this, the Timothée Chalamet confirmed dating Kylie Jenner, simply because I feel like a lot of, A-W if that's true, but I feel like a lot of people, when they see videos of like paparazzi being all up in like Justin Bieber's face or celebrities' face, everyone's always like, that's so gross, man. It's like paparazzi are awful people, like ruining these people's lives, which I totally agree with. But then everyone on Twitter is like, I'm not believing they're dating until I see a picture of them together. So every paparazzi agency in the world, their bosses are saying, I'm paying you double time if you get a picture of them. Yeah. Follow them around everywhere they go. Never let them be in public without us getting a picture of them. So like the fact that people are like, oh, I want to see them together. Are they really dating? Yeah. It's like, we're just feeding into paparazzi being horrible people that I guarantee Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner right now have like zero privacy in public, because everyone wants to be that first picture shot of them together if they are dating. So
and Timmy, respectful guy of the week, getting absolutely trucked by a camera and just taking it like a man and moving on. Not
I would have gotten violent if I were him. That shit looked like it hurt.
I'm guessing it probably didn't hurt. Have
you seen the size of him? Have you seen the size of him?
I know. Yeah,
he was like speed walking too.
He took it, man. He took it like a champ.
That had to
the reactions from all the people in the video are the funniest thing to mention, because clearly like the redhead, like everyone's like, oh, she pushed him into it, like clearly that was like supposed to happen for whatever commercial scene they were filming. But her like immediate reaction was clearly because like she's like not a name brand actor like he is. She had like this look of like, did all my hopes and dreams just get flushed down the toilet in one quick moment of me like hurting Timothée Chalamet? She looked so concerned. And then like the guy who was operating the camera, I feel like didn't look concerned enough, because he like just trucked Timothée Chalamet. Not only that, the camera broke, like a piece fell off. Like I expected more of a reaction from the cameraman to be like, oh no, what happened? But he just like casually walked off. I was like, it's just such an interesting video to analyze.
Just broke a $300,000 camera.
Oh yeah, at least, because it's a Martin Scorsese directed Chanel commercial. You know that thing's not a handheld video camera. That's an expensive thing. And then just wanted to mention this because I've seen some comments saying that we haven't been talking about the Jonathan Majors stuff. I do want to say we did cover it when this first came out, but there's been a couple updates on it, and we just want to say, obviously, we could completely disavow, like, he's a horrible person. It's pretty much confirmed at this point. We don't really care what that means for the MCU or anything. We just care what it means for justice being brought and the person's, and it sounds like more people and more keys are stepping up, that they're all going to be okay. But Jonathan Majors has been dropped from ad campaigns, several upcoming projects, and by his talent agency and his manager. Again, the MCU is still up in the air. I'm sure something's going to come out. I'm sure it's an issue of they already have stuff filmed, so they're just waiting for that to come out for them to officially put the kibosh on it.
I'm pretty sure like Loki season 2 is already filmed, and so like they're probably just scrambling. It doesn't matter, first off, if that's your one concern, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we don't have to touch on it every week. You know?
Right. I just wanted to come out and say, because I just saw some comments last week being like, I figured you guys haven't talked about it, but we did talk about it when it first came out, and there has been some updates. Something could be interesting here. Writers Guild of America has authorized a strike by 97.85%. Now, this doesn't mean they are striking. This basically just means they did an initial vote saying like, hey, if we were going to strike in a month, but if we don't reach a deal, would you guys authorize it? And basically overwhelmingly, they're like, yes. So that puts a little more flame to the fire of let's get these negotiations done, because not only will that affect projects that have writers that are like sitcoms and stuff that, you know, comes out in batches, but that's going to affect stuff weekly. Like Saturday Night Live just simply won't be happening on Saturdays if this is gone. A lot of late night talk shows just simply won't be happening. So a lot of people think of writers' strikes as like, oh, the writing for this next season of the show is going to be really wonky, but the real like main impact is just going to be like regular weekly live TV shows are just going to be straight up canceled and not happening if the strike happens. So we'll see. Like nothing else has been talked about at this point. They have negotiations ongoing. From what a lot of us hear is just like writers in Hollywood are just not treated the best. So hopefully they come to a good deal here. Next note here, Twilight reboot in the works as a TV series. Seems like everything is moving over to TV and getting rebooted, and
So many reboots.
It's like honestly, like the biggest winner in the past like 2 weeks of updates has been Harry Potter, because so much other stuff has been rebooted that it's like getting lost in the sauce of like. Because at first it was like, why is Harry Potter being rebooted? Now like we have, what's that movie from like 2 years ago that's already being rebooted?
Moana.
That too, but there's some like
Moana, yeah.
I can't even remember. There's a movie from like literally like last.
Are you
year.
talking Another Round, or are you talking?
No. I know.
Right? No, it's not Rise of Justice.
It's a overseas movie, right? That's getting an American remake. I know, Seth.
Well, it's not Squid. It's not Squid Game show.
No.
Well, that is getting rebooted too.
That is getting rebooted too.
So like,
it's weird because that's also getting a second season.
Right, that's the weirdest thing. Like that's literally like an ongoing IP. So like literally, like, I just keep thinking, I'm like, man, this is like so good for the Harry Potter reboot that like stuff that's literally still ongoing seasons overseas are being rebooted in America. It's like just crazy amounts of reboots. But Twilight should be interesting. We'll see who they get to cast, because like not as important as Harry Potter, because like Twilight is almost at the same level in terms of how many people are like obsessed with it, but overall pop culture not as highly. But I still think like the casting of Bella and Edward and Jacob are going to be like very important to the success of that. Super Mario Bros. Has already hit the highest grossing video game adaptation of all time. Right now, at the time of this recording, it's at $750 million. It'll probably cross $1 billion at some point here soon. It still hasn't been released in Japan, which is where Nintendo is based.
Really?
It comes out April 28th.
Wow.
But that's also when it goes to streaming in America. It'll still be in theaters. So I think my initial projection of 1.5 will probably be right where this lands. I simply don't know international markets enough to know like if Japan's going to like explode with this, or if people.
It's big.
Surely it does well in Japan. Like.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it comes out like I think a lot of international markets April 28th it comes out, including Japan. So we'll see how high it goes. But it just keeps racking up the money, and it's already the highest grossing video game adaptation of all time. And Nintendo also didn't have this in the rundown, but the Nintendo CEO or something, I believe, said like yesterday that there's absolutely going to be more Nintendo video game adaptations into movies. We all saw this coming after the success of Super Mario Bros. But I didn't love Super Mario Bros. None of us were blown away by it, but I'd be excited to see more Nintendo stuff adapted, because it is fun seeing that IP in movie form, because we really haven't.
I'd rather see that than like a Twilight show. Like,
well, right, because like Nintendo's like just rarely been adapted, so it's just kind of cool to see this come to the big screen. And then talking more about money, Strange World and Lightyear each lost over $100 million for Disney. And as I mentioned earlier, talking about Jake Gyllenhaal, Strange World was the biggest flop of 2022. Yikes. I mean, I saw yesterday a tweet that Netflix had gained a couple million subscribers in Q1 of this year, whereas Disney's losing subscribers. I know a lot of people said it was because of cricket or whatever, but with these projects from last year losing $100 million each, and they're losing subscribers while like other streaming services are gaining. And, the MCU people are having issues with, like Star Wars, like seems to be getting more structure here. But Disney, I don't know. Like obviously they're so big they can handle all this, but it seems like they're at more of a critical point now than they have been in the last probably 2 decades or so with their projects and their IP. So we'll be interested to see where they go from here. Extraction, which I know Cam I think is a big fan of, and George, I think you liked it.
I enjoyed.
Seth, have you seen Extraction
awesome
1?
Yeah, it's like a 3-star for me. It's fine.
Okay. Which for like a Netflix film is like higher rated than most things, but it's known for the iconic one-take action sequence. This second one has been confirmed to have a 14-minute one-take action sequence, so that's just going to be awesome. I'm excited to see that one. But yeah, does it come out this year? Does anyone know?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
We've talked about it before, but this is the first
later
time.
this year.
Wasn't it in like the
It was
Netflix,
in the
it
was in the sizzle reel.
Yeah, that thing.
The sizzle
So
reel.
it's definitely this year.
It was on the Sizz. We got our first look at Ariana Grande and Wicked. Initially, we got the 2 pictures of it in the dark where everyone lost their minds. Then we got a more light picture of her in it. I've never seen Wicked like in a musical form, a play form. I think it's probably had a movie adaptation, but I've never seen Wicked. I have no clue what it's going to be. I'll go see it. Like, there's a lot going into this here. It looks like I've seen some behind the scenes pictures of the set, and it looks like just a crazy world they built. Like, I know they built it so intensely that I wonder if they're going to turn it into some sort of like theme park or like something you can visit and pay to see, because they like literally built like a practical world for Wicked. But we got our first look at Ariana Grande in this. She's been in the news a lot for people wondering if she's okay, but she looks good in this. So, Cam, are you going to say something or no? Okay.
Oh no, I think people just need to probably leave her be. And then second point of she was like, other than Selena Gomez, she was my first crush. Selena Gomez was my first, so she was my second.
Was it from the Victorious days that she was your first crush?
Yeah.
Nice. Cat, right? That was her name, Cat?
Yeah, Cat. Yeah, Cat.
Classic.
Cat Grande. That's her last name. I don't know why.
I actually didn't know that Grande was her last name in the show.
Yeah.
Weird note, Pixar's Elemental is the closing film of Cannes. So that's just kind of, it seems like an interesting...
Because it's going to bang.
I just feel like
that's a lot of confidence.
Right. I feel like it's such a hoity-toity festival that's known for the 20-minute standing ovations. Like, that's like the biggest meme of them all for how, like, that one's known for the standing ovations. And it's a film festival, and it's just weird that Elemental is the movie that's going to be closing it out. But, hey, Pixar's got confidence.
Why the fuck not?
Ignore me. Cat Valentine. Ignore me. Cut it. Get it out.
Aziz Ansari is set to make his directorial debut with Good Fortune. It's going to be a comedy starring alongside Keanu Reeves and Seth Rogen. So obviously with a cast like that, you're going to get people watching your debut film. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm like neutral on Aziz Ansari. I don't think he's ever been the funniest guy.
Directorial debut.
Yeah, directorial
I thought you were I thought you said acting debut. I was like, there's no way.
No, he's very much an actor.
Well, I thought you meant like acting in a movie. I was like,
fair. I can't think on the top of my head a ton of Aziz Ansari movies.
I can't either.
I'm sure he's been in some.
He's good in Parks and Rec. I don't know if I've ever seen him in it.
Yeah, but Seth Rogen and Keanu Reeves is like partners in a comedy movie is something I'm gonna watch at the end of the day. So I'm interested to see it. Amazon Prime releases dialogue boost feature, which is quite interesting because I don't know. I haven't tried it out yet. I think I would like it just because I feel like my speakers set up and my main TV, like I have like a subwoofer and speakers. I feel like just the nature of subwoofers, it becomes so music heavy and sound effects heavy that it is hard to hear the dialogue at times. Yeah. So like, I actually kind of like this idea of the dialogue boost feature. I think it could be cool here because I'm like, we've all been there. I think everyone can relate to when you watch a movie and like there's other people in the house, not just Tenet, but yeah, like Tenet for sure. I mean, like if you're watching a movie in a room with the speakers on and there's like someone in another room and you don't want to be too loud, you have to watch with the remote in hand. It's like, oh, action scene, turn down. Okay, the action scene's over, turn it back up. And it's like, you have to be like, it's like a full-time job to man the remote. And that can get so annoying. So dialogue boost feature could be nice.
Amazon Prime watched Christopher Nolan's Tenet and was like, this needs to get featured ASAP. Yeah,
I saw someone tweet, they were like,
maybe I'll like it more on rewatch. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. And side note, Riley is a huge fan of Tenet. I made her get a Letterboxd. It's in her top 4 favorite films.
Followed her.
Got her to make one. Trying to show her the ropes of the Letterboxd. But
nice.
Then last bit of news, another streaming service, 2 things. So Netflix is shutting down their DVD business, which is, I thought it was interesting because I just didn't know this.
I didn't even know it was still going on.
I didn't know it was going on for the past 8 years at least.
I thought they shut that shit down.
Their DVD business.
Yeah,
because they had like streaming.
So Netflix is their business model.
You didn't know they were a DVD company?
No, I didn't know they still did it.
So I don't know if you guys were. I was subscribed to Netflix before they were like when they were just a DVD. So basically, how it worked was you paid like a $5 a month, and you would rent a movie, and they would send it to your house in an envelope, and you could watch it, and then you send it back to them, and then you tell them what the next movie you want, and they'll send you the DVD for that, and they'll basically like just send DVDs to your door. But they shut that down officially, and. Yeah, I didn't know it was still going. And then another Netflix news that they said, which totally smart business move, but kind of a bummer, is that they're no longer going to be sending any movies to theaters. So that kind of sucks with stuff like The Killer coming out. And I mean, they're getting
why
more...
would they, though?
No, right.
Yeah.
I think it was a dumb decision to ever put movies in theaters for them because, like, the people that loved going to movies, Netflix movies in theaters, like us and other people on film Twitter and people who want to get that cinematic experience... But I guarantee, like, it's got to be a net loss for them to get those movies in theaters when, like, they could literally just be like, everyone has to get, because stuff like Glass Onion, people who don't have Netflix would have bought it just to be like, I just need it for 1 month to watch this movie, and they're putting more and more production value into their movies. So I think they tried. They truly did give it a good effort. The past year, they've been putting a lot of movies into theaters for like 2 weeks before, even if it's not a big name. Like even like The Pale Blue Eye was in theaters for a couple weeks. So I do think they gave it a fair try. Clearly, it just didn't work out for them financially, so they decided to pull the plug on that. Bummer, because I would love to see some of these big production value movies in theaters. Like, think of like the Narnia movies that are going to be coming out from Greta Gerwig in a few years for Netflix. Like, those would be probably just cracked to see in an IMAX screen. Won't happen unless we go to the LA Netflix theater. But yeah, no longer doing DVDs, no longer sending movies to theaters. They are all in on streaming. We will now get into what have we been watching this week. We're going to start off with Mr. Seth's film reviews. What have you been checking off your watch list this week?
Yeah, I watched two things. I watched Chernobyl, which obviously took up quite a lot of time. It was amazing. It was everything that George said it was, and it was one of the best limited series I've ever seen, no doubt in my mind. Ticked off a few of the classic kind of monster movies, like Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man. Watched Lost Highway, which was a David Lynch that I hadn't seen, the only major one I hadn't seen, and that was an instant 5-star for me, which doesn't happen often. It was amazing. Absolutely loved it. Tyler, have you decided whether you're doing Lynch or Bergman next?
Bergman. So here,
I would do Lynch next if I were you, because there's so many. There's only like 9 Lynch, like major Lynch films to watch. Do you know what I mean? And the Bergman's like 45.
In natural Tyler fashion, I map out my weeks to a T of exactly what I'm doing. So I have my week planned out. So I'll tell you right now, I'm watching, because you asked. So for Bergman, I'm watching Autumn Sonata. I'm watching Persona. And I'm watching The Magician and Prison. And then I have on my watch list for this week Mulholland Drive from Lynch and Dune 1984. So 2 Lynches and a couple Bergmans.
You'll have fun with Dune.
Why are you watching that?
Do you know
I'm
what?
watching them. I've got to catch them all, man.
I don't think it's that bad, but it's not. It's clearly his worst in most people's eyes.
It was such a passion project for him. I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah, true. I also watched Alien. Never seen it before. It was great.
6 stars for you on Letterboxd.
Yeah, A Quiet Place Part 2. I liked Quiet Place Part 2, but I think it was a massive step. For some reason, I've only just watched it. I thought it was a massive step down from the first. I really liked the first Quiet Place.
Sad.
Liked the second one. Didn't love it.
I like the second one a lot. I think it's right there with it.
I just think the ending was pretty bad, to be honest. I didn't like the end at all.
My issue is the ending's the exact same.
But pretty much is, yeah. I didn't like it. It just felt really abrupt. It was really weird. And then yesterday, Tyler, I watched EO, the donkey film, which
I saw you liked it, and I'm happy. It's just such a feel-good movie. Like, there's some sad part. Like, dude, the bar scene infuriated me.
It was horrible, But I think I tweeted like it's. I reviewed it like it's a visual representation of like beauty and simplicity. It's just such a simple kind of transcendent style that I really enjoyed. And it was really sad, and it really got me emotionally. And it was just, I think it was just a really, really well made film. I know it's not everyone's.
Donkeys were such a W in 2022, man. Like, I know everyone. Jenny the Donkey got more recognition, but EO showed range in that movie.
Yeah, they were like, what is it with filmmaking in 2022 using donkeys as an emotional centerpiece? Right. It was like that. If I was to guess, like Tyler and Cam, have you watched this film from last year, EO? The one that got nominated for
I think you meant George, yeah.
Yeah. I think Cam would hate it, and I think George would probably like it a little bit. That's my guess anyway.
Basically the movie's just following a donkey around.
Sure. Yeah, pretty much.
But it tells like the whole culture, and it's been a while since I've watched it. What country is it again?
Poland.
It's basically just like seeing modern Poland through the eyes of
Well, it goes to France as well in the end, doesn't it? Like transverse. I really enjoyed
it.
Spoilers. It's messed up, man.
Yeah, it was good. That's pretty much it for me this week. I had a pretty good week.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. George, what have you been taking off that watch list of yours?
Again, man, I feel like it's the 3rd week in a row where it's just literally nothing. I watched nothing new except.
I've noticed your letterbox is just rewatches.
Yeah, it's a lot of rewatches. It's like I get home from work and then I go to the gym, and then like when I come back, it's like I'm just never in like a mood to pay attention to a movie that like requires attention, which is something off my watch list. So I rewatched It Follows, and just so
you've watched that so many times,
dude. It's just so good, and it just gets better. It's the closest horror movie I have at a 4.5 out of 5 that isn't a 5 stars. And there's
I'll watch it again soon because I feel
there is a reason why it's not a 5 stars for me. But either way, it's so fucking good. Pulse, same thing. It's behind It Follows is the closest horror movie I have at a 4.5. It should be a 5.
I need to watch
then I watched Arrival last night or this morning, technically.
Classic. Have you seen that before?
Once or twice, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Once or twice.
Cameron, what have you been watching?
Star Wars.
Yeah,
Star Wars, and then Beau is Afraid and Ghosted. I'm enjoying my time.
You know what I think is funny? Back to Seth. I feel like every single week you say instant 5 stars, which doesn't happen often for me, but you say it every single weekend.
Do you know what? To be fair, actually, no, it's only happened twice in the past 2 months. It's been Blowout, and Lost Highway.
All right, I feel like every weekend you're like instant 5 stars. Very rarely.
I'm gonna yeah, it's been the only ones in March and April have been Blowout and Lost Highway. You liar!
Yeah. Damn.
Liar.
My bad.
Yeah, I got Star Wars. Yeah. It's a good show. Good stuff.
For me, I watched Operation Fortune right before going to see The Covenant just to tick off the 2023 release from Guy Ritchie. Didn't care for Operation Fortune. Like I said, Guy Ritchie for me is just always going to be 2.5 to 3 stars. Nowhere really below or above that.
Snatch is great. Killing me.
Yeah, that's like the same one that's like my hot take. But I think other than Snatch, a lot of people are in the same boat of like he produces a lot of like 3 out of 5
and Lock Stock. I think Snatch and Lock Stock.
I think Lock Stock's like great.
I have not seen that one, so maybe I'll be higher on it. But
if you didn't love Snatch, you probably won't love Lock Stock either. To be honest, probably around the same.
And then I watched Emily, which is a release from this year. So this week I've been
the one with
Emma Mackey.
Emma Mackey, yeah.
It's about the life of the author Emily Bronte. I'm not a huge fan of like this is similar to Blonde in terms of like this is a fictional account of Emily Bronte's life, and it's like I don't need to be seeing fake stories about real people, you know. Like just give me either a biopic or just make someone up.
Is it as disgusting as Blonde, or is it just a?
No, it wasn't as disgusting as Blonde. Like there's a couple scenes in there, but like none of them are nearly as vile as Blonde. Emma Mackey's great. I just didn't like this one. Really it's a directorial debut of Frances O'Connor. The movie's just dark, like in terms of like the lighting. Like I get it; it's supposed to be like 150 years ago. There's not modern electricity, but like we can still light a movie, people. It doesn't always have to be just like pitch black in there. Basically on my movie review spreadsheet, I have it all set up for all the stuff I was going to watch for the Oscars. I'm like, you know what? I'll just tick them off even though the Oscars is over. So I'm going through all the shorts that were nominated, and they are just stinkers. Like you can get nominated for any shorts, like just bad shorts. So like I'm going to start making short films because you can get nominated for Oscars. And I thought it was just me. Like I'd watch them and be like, this is so shit. And then I go to Letterboxd, and like the average review is like let's see, how do you measure a year? I hated that one. And the average review on Letterboxd is, drumroll please, 3.1. Okay, not terrible, but like Cinema Joe gave it a 1 star, 1.5 star. So like other people were hating it, and like I don't know.
Which one's that?
How do you measure a year? It's literally just a guy's 18 years of filming his daughter grow up, and I'm like, he tried to make a Boyhood and it didn't work. Let's see what else. Rewatch Black Mirror playtest. One of my favorite Black Mirror episodes. I don't think a lot of people love it as much as me, but that's the one with him like in the VR horror video game.
I was gonna say I'm surprised you like that as much as you do.
That was like when I first saw it. That was like an instant favorite of mine. Like probably my favorite Black Mirror episode, even though I'd rate a couple higher than that. But it's probably my favorite one. Like I just love that.
I'm gonna have to watch them.
That's a scary episode.
No, first definitely the scariest episode.
But definitely the scariest of the Black Mirror episodes.
Yeah, it definitely suffers from like they decide to have like 12 plot twists, so it definitely gets a little more where it's like okay, they just keep twisting the plot, but I love it still. Got Suzumi off of my watch list. Really enjoyed it. Didn't love it as much as you guys, but still 3.5 stars. So I really liked it. I just thought it dragged a little bit for me. Beau was Afraid, obviously. Watch Paint. Movie's awful, and it was way hornier than I thought it would be. It's like Owen Wilson's just like basically it's like him being like a TV painter, and he kind of starts to fall off, and someone starts to replace him, and he's kind of like he used to be super famous and beloved, and now he's like not on his A game anymore, and like all his production assistants like want to get with him, and like he's just like a horny dude, and I was just not expecting that from Paint.
I can't believe it's still not a Bob Ross biopic. I was just surprised.
Yeah, which that's crazy.
Yeah, it was that part annoyed me, but to be fair, like after the first like 15 minutes, like the painting wasn't even like a huge thing of it, so I was like, okay, it's not just strictly like a Bob Ross thing, but not a good.
Did he do his wow?
I don't think he ever did the wow.
Wow. Wow.
But this movie felt so low budget, so it's like I saw someone review like this saying like this movie's not good, but one day there's not going to be movies like this made in Hollywood anymore, where it's just like people making a random small story with big name actors and like I don't know, whatever. It was fine for what it was. I didn't love it though. And then Ghosted and Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which I did not know Hans Zimmer was on the score until I finished it. So that's just wild to have a Judy Blume book adaptation of Hans Zimmer on the score. And it's directed by the same director as Edge of 17. So the people attached to this are incredible. The parents are played by Benny Safdie and Rachel McAdams. They both did incredible. I'm officially the campaign manager for Rachel McAdams to win Best Supporting Actress at the 2024 Oscars. She is incredible in this. And this is like the first movie ever that I've seen where no Letterboxd reviews are published. No one I followed had reviewed it yet. No Rotten Tomatoes, no IMDb was published. So I was like, this is a 4 out of 5 for me. I borderline 4.5 because I gave it an 8.4 out of 10.
Is it?
So,
did you go early screen or is it like?
Yeah, it comes out on the 28th.
It's still embargoed on Letterboxd, isn't it?
Yeah, so but I saw a couple mutuals like a couple days ago added it. So I was like, okay, everyone's starting to like early reactions are out and everyone's giving it like 4.5s, really loving it. So I was like, okay, I guess I was not overrating it. A lot of people are loving it, but I don't know. I really liked it. It's clear. It's similar to like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish in the way where like that's a quote unquote kids movie, but like adults can appreciate it because they do really well with the themes in it. This is like a preteen movie, but they do so well with the themes of like religion, family. It felt so relatable, just like moving to a new city and not knowing anyone, trying to fit in. Just a very good movie. I think it can honestly move up for me on rewatch because right now it is number 4 out of 72 2023 releases now. So we're racking them up. We're going to get to 100 and then by June.
Crazy.
That's the goal. But yeah, it's number 4 right now. Really loved it. So that wraps up the main portion of the podcast. Again, if you haven't checked out our Patreon yet, even if you're not a patron, go check out the link in the below just to check out the tiers, see if there's anything that whets your appetite in there. Merch, like I said, I guarantee will be coming out this week. Patreon is going to get the first look at it, so go check it out for that. We have our Q&A episode coming out, so you can ask questions for what we're going to answer in our Q&A episode this week, and you can obviously suggest movies to review, drafts, tons of other perks on there as well, including movie watch-alongs and hangouts. Without further ado, though, let's wrap up this episode with our draft. So today's draft is going to be the best food and drink to eat at a movie theater. So I mentioned at first, I was like, everyone has to do like 1 drink and 4 snacks. And then Cam was like, let me do 2 drinks and 3 snacks. And I just officially said, scrap it. Like you can have 5 drinks, you can have 5 snacks, you can have a mixture, like whatever you want, just anything to consume, whether it's drinking or eating at a movie theater to accompany your movie. This could get real interesting. The first pick on the random nomination is Seth. I feel like that gives I feel like he gets the layup pick 1-1, which is going to be honestly like me, George, and Cam have our work cut out for us because this is one of the biggest dynamite 1-1 picks in probably draft history that we're going to have to craft a stellar lineup to be able to fight it. So Seth,
don't mess it up, Seth.
That's going to fuck it up.
Oh, I don't. I'll be honest. I'm out of my league. I don't eat in the cinema like ever. But when I do, it's popcorn.
Okay.
But wait,
I was genuinely
wait.
All right, what's your pick?
We can specify mine would be salted popcorn. We'll specify that.
You're taking popcorn.
No, because then other people can take sweet popcorn if they want. I think
that's fair. If you want like the kettle corns or like the caramel corns with my theater, you can either get
what the fuck you're weird, you Americans. What do you mean?
Corn is gas. Kettle corn
is very good, but just give them popcorn. Don't make this complicated.
No, I agree, but you can have like kettle corn or whatever if you want.
Sure, kettle corn is different.
But yeah, I was gonna say like we're not gonna go like salted versus unsalted or buttered versus buttered popcorn. You get popcorn. It's off the board.
Popcorn's fine.
Just before we get going, like George, are you keeping track of these, or someone keeping track of these?
Yeah, I got it.
So popcorn. Not gonna lie, I had to hold my breath on that one. I was really worried that there was gonna be some weird.
I thought he was about to throw something else out, and I didn't want to like do you up like that this week. Seth. Like,
Seth's go-to drink is gonna be pre-workout.
Ooh.
Okay.
I do have a drink.
So I think there's just a huge, massive, insane drop off after the 1-1 here, to where I don't think there's a clear second pick.
No. I think there's a pick you can get some votes for. We'll see if you take it.
I don't know, but I'm going the blue icy.
Yeah, that's
and if anyone wants to draft ices, I'm saying right now you can pick the colors. So I don't have ices. I have blue ices. Other ices.
What's an ices?
That's a
slushy.
Slushy. It's like
so I'm not going to tell you what. Okay, that's
like
fine.
an ice drink.
Can I pick a different brand of that then?
Well, I don't know. I think you just get icy.
No, because here that's not a thing. Here it's completely different. It's a different brand. It's a different type of thing.
If we get to you in the draft and it's like something you truly want to pick, we can discuss it. I'm sure we'll get
I have this every time I go to
cinema. Okay, then because we have a lot of UK viewers. We don't want to be America biased.
Okay. George, anything?
I mean, I'm going to go with my go-to. This is what I get every time I go to the theater, and that is just a bag of Reese's Pieces.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Big ET guy.
We've officially capped. Actually, not true. I get one thing at the theater, but these I don't know. I get popcorn and a drink, but I don't know if I want to pick my drink because it's nothing special to like a movie theater. You know,
water.
Right, like Coca-Cola doesn't need to be a first-round pick in this draft.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'm gonna go with my favorite candy, and it's the only candy I've ever eaten at a movie theater. It's Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, that's my 1-1 for the candy picks.
Okay,
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a chocolate guy though, so you can have Reese's Pieces.
George, is it the cups, Reese's Pieces, or is it the other thing?
Look like M&Ms.
The cups.
Yeah, the M&M looking ones.
Oh
yeah,
no,
yeah.
the cups are way better.
Those are the Pieces. No, the Reese's Cups. The Reese's are Reese's Cups.
I said
Reese's Pieces are the Pieces.
I'm glad none of us say Reese's Pieces.
And then my new number 2, and this is a new one, but I'm going to go with a nice beer. I'm going to take beer.
I was wondering who's going to go the
You can't just say beer. What's the brand?
Yes, I can say beer.
You can just say beer.
Yeah, I'm taking beer. I'm not going to pick like an IPA.
But just out of curiosity, what kind of beer do you like?
Do you drink IPA?
I hate IPAs.
I mean, I've definitely had IPAs. I don't love them. I don't know
IPAs.
if I'm at a theater and it's all name brand, I'd have to get. I go with Bud Light. That's like a name brand that I like. That's at a theater.
Canceled by the right.
I don't care. I've been canceled by the right plenty on this podcast.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Mountain Dew, man. I thought that'd be like your number one.
Dude, I don't drink Mountain Dew. Actually, I drink Baja Blast. I'll admit that. When I go to Taco Bell, Baja Blast is the greatest drink.
I don't know what that is.
It's the greatest drink ever invented, and I will not be shamed for Baja Blast. Mountain Dew, though. Yeah, I don't know what other name brands are like at a theater. The only thing that are at a theater,
for sure.
But the only thing that are at a theater is like Bud Light, Miller Lite, Budweiser, and White Claw or something.
Can
like
you
that.
get get beer at like a local, like an AM City, for example?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have no.
You can't do that here at like a small one. Okay.
Did I tell you guys? I may have. I went to my like hometown Regal, and they had like poster on their wall for like for my Super Mario showing. And they had this poster on the wall of like all these fun Super Mario drinks. One was like a pink lemonade for Peach. One was like some red drink for Mario, green drink for Luigi. You get it. I asked for one of them, and they said, "Oh, we don't actually carry those, but they make us have this sign for promotion." I'm like, "What the hell?" Yeah, that was a bummer.
That really ruined your experience.
Yeah, it would have made Super Mario Bros. A 4 out of 5.
George, your second pick.
My second pick, I'm gonna lean away from like the candy chocolate area, and I'm gonna go with the nachos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
Seth, I feel like would hate those.
Seth would hate those. Seth would fully hate those. And let me make it clear, I don't eat nachos at the theater.
No, that was my next pick.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
I like it. Tyler?
Is it me? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, it's me. So I'm going to go Sour Patch Kids watermelon. I prefer those to the Sour Patch Kids.
Okay.
They're absolutely different things.
They
you
are
don't get
different.
both
That's
Sour
fine.
Patch Kids.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
It's
They
like
are
saying
different.
Reese's Pieces and Reese's Cups.
I still stand by. I'm a pro Sour Patch versus watermelon, so it's fine.
Okay, I thought you were upset because like you thought you deserved both of those.
No. I'm pro Sour Patch.
Ones are nice.
Yeah,
I like those better than.
I
the
do
watermelon.
think you get more quantity for the dollar of the originals, though. So I think Sour Patch watermelons are a little of a ripoff.
Too big. They're all.
Seth, back to back.
All right, so I'll go a Tango Ice Blast, which is basically what Cam was saying. I think Tango is it's a UK drink, so it's basically like a slush thing. If you're in the UK, that's people go to the cinema for them. I think they only have like cherry and like blue raspberry or something like that. It's just Tango Ice Blast.
It's the same. It's the same fucking thing. This is not
okay,
fair.
but no, he gets cherry.
Yeah, but no,
he'll get cherry Tango Ice Blast since I have the blue raspberry comparison.
That's fine.
It's a different brand and everything.
That's fine.
And then I'll go Reese's Cups.
Okay.
I do love Reese's Cups.
So,
I'll go Reese's Cups.
Sorry, what was your first pick?
Tango Ice Blast.
Cherry Tango Ice Blast. It's like the UK version of a slushy.
It's a slushy.
So, Seth, for your Reese's Cups, do they come in like a bag and they're like mini Reese's Cups in the bag, or how do your Reese's Cups?
It could be either. It could be the sleeve. I'll go with the bag, like a big bag.
I was just more curious. Like, it doesn't matter for the draft. Like, I think any Reese's Cups will do for your pick. But I was just kind of wondering how they.
No, we could buy Reese's wherever. Like Reese's are an American chocolate that we can get wherever.
Okay.
So, like, and I'm going to be honest with you, American chocolate, most of it is disgusting. Hershey's is vile. Like, it tastes like cardboard.
I agree.
I'm not a chocolate fan.
But your sweets, your candy,
I don't like chocolate in general.
Your candy is nicer than ours, I'll say that, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, when I got that Empire of Light package, I will admit, I think a lot of the candy, the chocolates from the UK are far superior to anything we have here. Crunchies are the best thing ever. The honeycomb.
They are good.
Beautiful.
They are good.
My next pick, I'm gonna go back to the candy wheelhouse here, and I'm gonna go Skittles.
Which Skittles? Sour or normal? Or
normal Skittles, the red bag of Skittles.
The red bag? I think they're the worst.
I think I like sour Skittles as a kid, but I think my palate's a little bitch. I think I'm a little bitch in my palate. I don't like sour Skittles anymore.
The sour ones, they're really good.
I don't even know the last time I had a bag of Skittles. Yeah. My third pick, I'll go to my drink, and that is a Sprite.
Ooh, Sprite.
Is that a diet Sprite or a normal Sprite?
No, just normal Sprite.
It's boring drink.
It's typically water, but when I'm in the mood for a soda, I go to the Sprite.
Okay.
Yeah,
what's everyone's favorite soda then? If George's is Sprite, not just for movie theaters, just soda.
No. That's not my favorite. That's not my favorite.
Okay, what's your favorite?
My favorite is
Mountain
Dr.
Dew.
Pepper. No, stop.
Do they not have that at a theater? Theater?
No, they do, but like I listen, that Reese's Pieces Sprite combo, gas.
George, Dr. Pepper is like
so good.
I think my favorite is Diet Dr. Pepper. Anna drinks Dr. Pepper.
Diet Dr. Pepper is the best diet drink for sure.
To be fair, when you drink, I've only drank diet soda drinks for so long. When you go back to normal, they're disgusting because they're just so overpowering. Yeah, it's too much. The Diet Dr. Pepper is very, very good.
So gas.
Yeah, I love Sprite. I love root beer. I love ginger beer or ginger ale, but ginger beer, the more gingery, the better. Ginger beer fucking smacks.
Tyler, I'm like the least fussy eater. The only thing I won't eat is anything ginger related. Ginger beer,
ginger ale is
the worst thing I've ever had in my life. I hate it.
But George already took his pick. He can't take it back. My pick. My next pick is Dr. Pepper. That's the best soda.
Fuck you,
the best soda.
One thing before we get off the soda talk is AMC's, like at least around here, I'm sure you guys all have them too, is the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines where you do whatever.
So I guess Mr. Pibb, but
I hate the freestyle. So like the freestyle machine, Seth. I don't know if you have one where it's like you get your drink and you get to go out to the machine, you get to push whatever soda you want.
How do you hate the freestyle machines? What do you hate? Fun?
I hate them because I always get too carried. Like, okay, so Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. I went and got the freestyle and I wanted Fanta Zero. So I wanted an orange drink.
You wanted what?
Fanta Zero, whatever. I went to get a drink and I saw they had Fanta Peach Zero. So I was like, that sounds good. And then they also have Fanta Fruit Punch Zero. So I was like, I'm just going to mix these two, which obviously I knew wouldn't work. So I did half Fanta Peach Zero and half Fanta Fruit Punch Zero. And it was awful. Like, it's just like Coca-Cola Freestyles. I always get too excited. I always get too excited by all the options. I always mix too many things. I'm like, oh, I want a cherry shot. I want everything. I just don't too much change. I get overwhelmed by all the options.
Don't be putting that on the freestyle, man, because the freestyle allows me to get an Arnold Palmer. But that's not my next pick.
I never even thought of doing an Arnold Palmer freestyle. That's genius.
It's incredible. Because you can get like lemon flavored tea and a little bit more lemon, so you could probably just mix regular. But like, I swear it's better with.
I'm back in on the freestyle. Cam has brought me fully back in.
My next pick is I am putting my foot down. I don't know if this is a hot take. I'm sure it is. I am pro dinner theater things, like where they bring out dinner. I'm pro dinner. I'm going with I like a nice pizza at dinner, or if I'm at like a dinner theater.
I don't think I've ever had pizza.
A pizza while they bring out a nice like personal sized. It's good.
The graphic for that, I'm putting a movie theater looking pizza. I'm not putting like a nice big pizza pie.
Google Flick's Brew House. That place is gas. Okay. And they have nice beer because they customize their own beer.
George, quick question. You live in New York.
They brew it.
Do you go and get like a slice of pizza like often or
all the time?
Because that's not a thing here.
That's great.
All the time.
Well, it's not really a thing in America either. It's a New York specialty.
It's a New York thing, yeah.
Is it just New York? Okay.
I've never done that in my life. Yeah, all the time.
It's known for like one. I could be completely wrong. I've never been to New York. New York's known for like places that sell like one slice pizza.
One slice.
Yeah.
One slice. Like I don't know anywhere near me, even in Indianapolis, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I walk in, I get 3 slices, and they're all different, and I go
That's
home.
fantastic.
Is it like an Italian pizza place as well?
Yeah, usually.
You can get
They're
pizza
not like
with
fancy
everything
sit-down
I've heard.
restaurants. You just
No,
walk
I
in.
mean like the ones you see in the films, like the
Oh yeah, a little
greasy
bit.
Italian places that look amazing. Those
Yeah, for the most part.
George, your next
All
pick.
right, my 4th pick. I don't know. Again, just something one of my go-tos at a theater, and that's just a nice bag of peanut M&Ms.
Mm-hmm. I think
it.
peanut M&Ms are a solid movie.
They're so good.
I don't love
peanut
M&Ms, but I think peanut M&Ms are my preferred one.
Yeah, peanut M&Ms are gas. I could hose peanut M&Ms.
Are they your favorite M&Ms?
No, mini
I like
M&Ms is my
peanut
favorite.
M&Ms.
Mini M&Ms.
But no one carries mini M&Ms. It's so whack.
What about crispy M&Ms? Do you get them?
What the fuck is a crispy M&M?
Do you get brownie M&Ms?
Is that
Yeah,
the
we got the
sexy M&M
brownies.
in the commercial, or which one's the sexy M&M?
Sexy.
It's the 420 M&M.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Do you not get the crispy M&Ms though?
I have. Hold on. Let me Google.
It's
never
like, I think it's the blue
crispy
bag.
M&M.
I think it's the blue bag. It's the blue bag. I'm sure it is.
That's the pretzels, right?
No, we
the
don't
crunch. The crunch.
get them. That's.
Oh
yeah,
no,
that'd
but
be
there's another crispy.
why. Maybe
this
that's the UK version.
This isn't the
Crunchy yogurt.
sexy M&M, guys.
No. That's
Which one's
I've
the
never seen the crispy bag, but we have.
You've got the brownie
crunch-
ones, yeah? The
Yeah, we
purple
have the brownie,
ones.
we have the crunch and cookie, but crispy I've
Do
never
you have
seen.
the salted caramel ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're very
The
good.
sexy M&M's the green one.
Thanks for clarifying. I was really questioning that.
Sorry.
For my 4th pick, I've never eaten this since I only ate this when I worked at a movie theater, but like when I could just get whatever I wanted for free. But I've never paid myself for this. But solid companion. I wanted to do something non-candy. Soft pretzel with a little cheese,
Ooh,
salted soft pretzel.
I was wondering
We
if I
might-
was going to take that.
Damn it.
It's so
we might
funny.
have we might have to in my 5th pick, but we'll see.
I was gonna say I always see like the soft pretzels in like the theater, like behind the counter, but I never see anyone eat them or get them.
Yeah, like no one
They're
ever ordered them
always-
when I worked at AMC.
I wish they sold them here, man. I love pretzels.
Yeah.
I have pretzels.
Seth, back to back for your final 2 picks.
I don't know if you'll let me take this. Can I take? I don't know what you would call it, like a pick and mix. Do you call it that?
Is that like trail mix?
No, no. So, like sweets, candy, whatever, and you pick the ones and put them in a bag, then they weigh it, and then you pay it, whatever.
You have
Does
that
the
at a
theater
movie?
offer that?
That's a
Or do you go to like a
crazy
grocery
math.
store before then?
So you'd they have like a trays of each one. You've got like a little thing to
Scoop,
get them
yeah.
No,
out.
I know,
what
but is
you're
that
talking
at a
about,
grocery
but is
store or is that
that
at the movie theater?
No, they're all cinemas here. That's like that's like probably the main
I mean,
thing.
I'll give it to you if you can get it at a movie. I've never seen that in my
Yeah,
life.
You can get like seriously. That's probably the most popular thing, along with like the pop here.
And
You
then
can
do
get that
they
every
weigh
single-
it and you pay by weight?
Yeah. So they weigh it and you pay by weight kind of thing.
It's kind of
They're
a
always
trick,
distortion
honestly.
as well.
I'm kind of jealous.
Is that
of
not yours?
No,
No.
I kind of
Really?
wish it was, but no.
No, I get that shit. When I
What do I even put down? Pick and mix?
Just- George, if you get it for the draft, if you just search like Odeon Pick and Mix, I'll send you a link. It'll just
I'm
come
gonna-
up with a bag that says Pick and
Yeah.
Mix.
In,
Easy.
in parentheses, I put British things.
And then your final pick, Seth.
Oh man. If someone's already said a drink, can I say the diet version of that drink?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Diet Dr. Pepper.
Everything diet is worse. I
No,
stand by
every
that.
diet is better. Everything
much
diet
worse.
is
I
better.
completely agree.
Less flavor. Less flavor.
Completely.
Diet is better.
Could not agree
Zeros are
more.
all superior to diets, though. Like Coke Zero
No,
way superior
zeros
to
are
Diet
worse.
Coke.
No,
Yeah,
no,
What?
Diet's the better.
Diet Coke is ass, dude.
Dog.
Diet Coke's
No
way
way.
better than Coke Zero.
I thought that was a
No.
clear, obvious opinion that Coke Zero is superior to Diet Coke.
Yeah, maybe your ones.
Diet Dr.
that's
Pepper
all.
smacks, though. That's like the best diet drink, I think.
So mid.
Diets
so
are
mid.
so much better than the normal ones.
So mid.
No, they make your teeth feel weird. The normal ones, don't like them.
My final pick. Oh, God. So I got 2 candies, an entree, a drink. We'll go with. We'll go with. I don't know. We'll go with Mike and Ike's.
I like that.
Mike and
what?
Ike's.
Mike and Ike's. Okay.
Oh, they're
Mike.
good. They're really good.
Wait,
you know?
Yeah. I haven't had Mike and Ike. Damn, I haven't had a lot of these in so long. Mike and Ike.
I probably haven't had Mike and Ike since like trick or treating days. But
yeah,
they're
really.
I
Dr.
so
Pepper
nice.
and nachos.
George,
I'm gonna end my draft with something that's probably gonna make me come in last, but I don't care. I get it every single time I go to a theater, and that is a water bottle.
Yeah, so I didn't know if people were gonna pick water.
I think it's a
can't
smart
drink
pick.
water in the cinema.
Listen,
I don't hate that.
That is the one
pick.
That's
a
the
valid
one
pick.
constant. That is the one constant. Of
I can't
my
drink
theater.
water.
Personally, I hate that pick because, like,
Oh.
if I'm gonna drink, I don't want to drink anything in the theater usually because I don't want to piss. But if I'm gonna drink something, I want some flavor. I don't want to just drink liquids to drink liquids.
No, I
Last night
drink
for Beau's
water.
Afraid.
But
I normally don't get anything anymore, but last night for Beau's Afraid, since it was 3 hours, I treated myself. I got a nice Dr. Pepper and popcorn. It was good.
No
I miss
bathroom
it.
Did you have to have a toilet break, Cal?
No.
Oh,
Really?
buddy.
Wow, really?
You're usually bad for that as well. I'm
Jesus
surprised.
Christ. I left one movie.
Maybe it's because you just text on your phone, so I assume that you're not in the cinema. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
no,
that.
just
I
reminds me,
am
like-
sitting in the corner, 6 feet away
Being
from
that
people.
guy.
Dude,
Oh.
I am the closest person to me was 6 seats away. They're fine. Yeah, and he was asleep.
And he was sleeping.
So, yeah. So if I'm that guy, that's fine.
Relating to that, I saw Owen retweet a tweet just like a couple minutes before the podcast. He's like, intermission this, intermission that. Just bring a piss bottle in like the rest of us. Like, this is fucking hilarious. Our final pick of the whole draft, Cameron.
Final pick of the whole draft. You're not going to let me have it, but I do want to just call out the Bavarian Legend. It's a 1.5 pound soft pretzel. You don't get it now.
That's a 1.5 pound. That is the most American thing.
That's AMC Bavarian Legend. You all have never gotten
heard
that?
of that. No.
Never heard of that.
What is
Yeah,
it?
it's a 1.5 pound
1.5
soft
pretzel.
pretzel. It's AMC's like big soft pretzel. They may
But
not
it's different
make
than
it
a
as-
normal
so
soft
bad.
pretzel? Is it bigger?
Well, they have regular size soft pretzels,
Okay.
but then they have a 1.5 pound soft
I
pretzel.
can't visualize how much bigger a 1.5 pound soft pretzel
It's
is.
big.
I
It's a
don't know.
big
I don't know
dude.
how
It's a big
sound
dude.
that big though.
1.5 pounds a lot.
Is a big for a soft pretzel. Yeah, those things weigh like half
I guess so. I guess
ounce. We'll go with. But for
What are
my
you actually
actual
taking?
pick, I'm just gonna go with the only other thing I've ever gotten in a theater, and that's a mixed drink. Just gonna hard alcohol.
Like a cocktail.
Yeah, cocktail. We'll go with cocktail.
2 alcoholic
So I
picks
got-
for Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, what does that tell you about me?
It's
Like,
Fun Drink Friday all the time.
it's always.
Did
fun to
anyone
try
have any
it. It's a
honorable
mindset.
mentions?
No,
Why
Weird.
did you? I was hoping one of you guys would pick Twizzlers, man. Are they not good?
not a Twizzler guy.
I'm not
Twizzlers-
either, but that was on
I
my
think
board.
Twizzlers are
Definitely,
like the
definitely not a
nicest-
go-to.
Twizzlers are the nicest thing to taste like plastic. They do taste a bit plasticky, but they are quite nice.
Chicken
They're quite
tenders,
Moorish.
hot dogs.
I was gonna say hot dogs. Hot dogs are quite a big
Chicken
one,
tenders,
but
maybe. I've never gotten a hot dog in the theater.
I
People
feel
get
like-
hot dogs here all the time.
I feel like
suppose.
Bunch of Crunch is a very popular movie theater candy for a lot of people.
I don't
Little
know what
Crunch
that is.
Bites. Cookie dough bites also maybe a lot of people love. I like the
Twinkies.
Coca-Cola icy.
Do people eat Twinkies in the US? Do people actually eat them?
I don't.
I haven't seen anyone. It maybe they used to. I don't think it's a thing anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think Twinkies are really a thing anymore. But
No.
They are in stores, I know that for sure. But like, I don't think
no, they're in stores. They're just not like. I think people know what they are now.
People
Yeah.
think. I think
No.
people here think that they're like so big in America, but I feel like
Yeah.
they're not at all.
They're just.
I think
haven't seen
Twinkies haven't
somebody
been
eat a
really
Twinkie
popular
in
since like
20
Zombieland.
years.
Yeah, Zombieland.
Yeah.
was
Probably
like-
Zombieland. Yeah, probably made
Yeah.
it more popular.
George, you want to run through all our picks?
Yeah. Seth, popcorn, cherry tango ice blast, Reese's cups, pick and mix, and Diet Dr. Pepper. Tyler, blue icy, Sour Patch Kids, watermelon, Skittles, soft pretzel, Mike and Ike's. Myself, Reese's Pieces, nachos, Sprite, peanut M&Ms, and a water bottle. And Cam, Sour Patch Kids, beer, Dr. Pepper, pizza, and a cocktail.
I think I did the best with what I was given in the fourth pick.
Yeah, it's tough. You had a tough draft
You
there
did,
because of where your
yeah.
placement was,
That's all right.
but yeah, I think
That's all
Seth should win this one respectfully, just like with the popcorn. Like that's just got to be
because
the
of that
one.
first.
I don't know, man. There's too many British choices on there. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
it's
we
a
do
lot
have
of
quite a
British
few English
choices.
listeners. We do have
Yeah.
quite a few English listeners.
Yeah.
so-
Definitely,
see.
Seth had
We'll
a
see.
home run first pick, and he could have played it safe with his remaining ones. He took a little risk, so we'll see. It opens it up
see.
for a little bit
Yeah.
of us. But thank you all for watching. If you enjoy these different draft concepts, I know our drafts, and people have been saying we're always picking the same movie, stuff like that. So we're trying to be creative, thinking of new ways to make these drafts interesting. This one, obviously, we've never picked any of these before because it's not even any movie related. But thank you all for watching. We're going to go through our executive producers now. So huge shout out to all of these patrons. If you want to check out our Patreon, links are in the description down below. But we got shout out to Al Bodie, Mac Wells, Marcellus, Remy Walker, Jeffy Mod, Ben Leggy, Ben Hansey, Benjamin Vetch, Brom Vitz, Dean Cotamanidis, Dylan Chip, Ferdinando 4, John Anderson, Jordan Gag, Josh Hines, Luke Durhog, Relapse, Tacos Rule Khan, Tobias Johnson, Will Kim, and Yunus BBX. Shout out to all of these executive producers. That does it here for today's episode. We had a longer one today. Real quick, ReelTok episode 33. Hope you enjoyed this one. As I mentioned at the beginning, we are going to be having new podcast episodes because they're all going to be real quicks after this. Every single day this week, Monday through Friday, new content coming out on all the audio platforms and YouTube. So subscribe, rate us, give us a thumbs up. Comment down below your favorite thing to eat at a movie theater that isn't popcorn. We want some diverse answers in there, and that'll also let us know that you made it to the end of the show. And we will see you tomorrow with the Real Quick.